No portion of this program may be reproduced without the express written permission of WQAM BZ Broadcasting.
Yeah, well, that sounded kind of like almost militant there at the end, didn't it?
Names, the best.
Calm down, Joe.
You're listening to Sports Radio 560 WQAM, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Neil Yard.
An investigation into the drinking water supplies of 24 major metro areas has found trace amounts of pharmaceutical drugs in the water.
What does that do to our health?
It all came out of our tap from the lake to my home pipeline. We drank all those medications. Now you should see the sea life. Boy, fish becoming mother. Too much estrogen floating round. The drugs just flow to our blood. We picked them out and then we found drugs in the water.
All right.
They will get you high.
Drug use is fun.
Drugs in the water.
Do I look like I need more drugs?
Yeah, as a matter of fact. 10:01 at 560 WQM. Happy Thursday to you. This is the first day of spring. Sure as hell wouldn't know it here, man.
No.
Now, you're going to hear some beeping and puking in the back because I tried to fax Eric the poll for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And then what happened?
Good suggestion we got yesterday. And then I screwed it up, and so I tried sending it again. And, of course, his fax line was busy because of me, so it's going to automatically redial every few minutes for like $85 a try, you know.
We'll get through it.
I beg your pardon? I'm just warning you ahead of time because if you wonder, what's all that noise in the back? Of course, you can't hear it anyway. Even when the sirens are like practically coming through my window, you can't hear it. So not a problem. We got a dead guy. We always like to get the deaths out of the way at the beginning of the show, so.
No, that's good.
And Chris tells me that there's nobody there.
Right.
That's a good thing because the last 2 days on our website, man, it looks like there's nobody there. And it's a good thing that even though it's Thursday today, we have no restaurant deal for you. We'll have another one next week. We got no 2-for-1 deal today because...
Don't say it.
Don't do the spot. They're out of business.
We set new lows in the history of the business this week here at QAM, and nobody seems to care about it either. That's the best part. Like, you think somebody would say, well, Andy said this, or this one said, something. But no. Why should we care? Why should we change and care all of a sudden?
That's right.
Paul Scofield is dead.
Who?
The towering British stage actor who won international fame for an Academy Award for the film A Man for All Seasons has died. He was 86.
That guy.
You know who that is?
Yeah, well, I saw that movie.
No, he's 86. He died yesterday in a hospital near his home in southern England. He had been suffering from leukemia. Scofield made few films even after the Oscar for his 66 portrayal of Tudor statesman Sir Thomas More. He was a stage actor by inclination and by his gifts, a dramatic, craggy face, and an unforgettable voice that was likened to a Rolls-Royce starting up or the rumbling sound of low organ pipes. Oh. Even his greatest screen role was a follow-up to a play, the London stage production of A Man for All Seasons, in which he starred for 9 months. Scofield also turned in a performance in the 61 New York production that won him extraordinary reviews and a Tony Award. With kind of a weary magnificence, Scofield sinks himself into the part, studiously underplays it, and somehow displays the inner mind of a man destined for sainthood, Time magazine said. Actor Richard Burton, once regarded as the natural heir to Sir Laurence Olivier, gay, and John Gielgud at the summit of the British Theatre, said it was Scofield who deserved that place. Of the 10 greatest moments in the theatre, 8 are Scofield's, he said. How do you like that?
All right.
Schofield was an unusual star, a family man who lived almost his entire life within a few miles of his birthplace and hurried home after work to his wife and children. He didn't seek the spotlight, gave interviews sparingly, and at times seemed to need coaxing to venture out, even onto the stage he loved. He's now dead. He won't be venturing out again.
Right.
Isn't that the way it works?
A man for all seasons. I'm going to take my hat off. Wait, I ain't wearing one.
No. Take off, well, at least put a yarmulke on, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I got that stack over here. It's a good idea.
Purim tonight. Isn't it tonight at sundown? It's Purim?
Yes, it is.
And luckily, I never had a chance to go out looking for Hamantaschen yesterday.
That is lucky.
I did get a chance to go to... Now, see, I lied. I said that I'm never going to play the dollar Wheel of Fortune at Woodbine again or anywhere else because it's a sucker bet. And I went there yesterday. I was there 15 minutes. I played and I got a spin for $1,000 and I ran out. I won $1,100.
Good.
It just goes to show you, and I don't care what anybody says. You people in that business are liars. You know what I mean?
No. What do you mean?
I mean that they look. You know as well as I do that everything now the sophistication of computerized equipment is staggering.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Right. And I also
you
know
can
that
control almost anything.
Right.
It's the science is amazing.
I also know that nobody's in business to not make a profit.
Well, there goes that fax again. Hey, Eric, hope your line ain't busy. Beep, 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 boop, bop, 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 bop. But anyway, I'm positive that they run programs because there are times when all the machines are dead, and then there are times when they're like all paying out like crazy. Now that's just not a coincidence. I mean, the odds are staggering against that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they tell you all the odds of, all the different combinations, bada beep, bada boop, and all that other crap. So I'm sure that anybody out there who's a slots player knows what I'm talking about. For example, when you spend money for these stupid, like online, they have these booklets. Well, I'm a slots technician for 25 years, and I'll give you the inside secrets, blah, 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 blah. And then one of the first things they tell you is there's no such thing as a hot machine or a cold machine. And then later on in the same crap, they'll say, never leave a hot machine. Well, if there's no such thing as a hot machine or a cold machine, then how can they tell you never leave a hot machine, man? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid.
Right.
Just a bunch of crap. They're punching buttons upstairs or in the back or somewhere. I'd like to see that room, the control room, where they're in there with diddling around. Well, let's put it on slow cook right now, okay, so it doesn't, no spins, no nothing like that. Anyway, I did okay. Aren't you excited for me? Aren't you thrilled?
I'm happy for you. Happy, Pappy.
That's $1,000 I got back that I sent Josh Cordes there before I went on vacation.
Well, then he ought to be thankful.
Well, I didn't get any report on that. What, he went to the Keys? Did he get laid at least or drunk?
He had a great time.
Did he really?
Yes.
Because that's his whole thing, is getting drunk and getting laid. Not necessarily in that order, but I have no problem with part of that. The drunk part, I just have no room in my life for drunks.
It's optional. It's helpful sometimes.
It's what?
It's helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
When you or the other person, especially the other person.
I don't care for drunks. I don't like being around them. I don't want to smell them. I don't want them puking on my shoes. I just don't like the whole thing.
Well, there's different degrees,
A 35-year-old woman was arrested in Destin for disorderly conduct when she extended her middle finger and yelled obscenities at another woman outside a church playground. Bitch. She was intoxicated, smelled of booze, and had urinated on herself, according to the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office arrest report.
All her ass
she was
off.
also trying to pick up her child from daycare. Oh,
you bet.
She was drunk, peed on herself, and was trying to pick up her kid from daycare. In Destin. When the woman saw another mother and juvenile walking across the parking lot, she lifted up her right hand and gave her the middle finger and yelled, blank, blank, and whore, according to the March 13th report. It just says expletive, so I'm not really sure. Maybe bitch, like that.
Right.
In fact, maybe she said, I'll find it.
I'll wait.
You bitch, you slut, you whore.
She was arrested for outraging the sense of public decency, a deputy wrote. The charge was a misdemeanor. Well, what does that mean, outraging the sense of public decency?
Well, I'm outraged.
Give me a break. So she's a little intoxicated. She's peeing all over herself. And she's, she don't know what she's saying. I'm starting to feel sorry for her at this point. Oh, brother. We had 1,095 votes on yesterday's poll. The most important lesson I've learned over the years from the Neil Rogers Show is religion is for crazy people, 382. Crazy people. Now, that's, of course, the people that are running the churches and the shuls and that. They're just businessmen, that's all. They're people in business, and it's a good business because it's tax exempt. And they're peddling lies. Like we do at QAM, Oh, go to this great place. It's not open anymore, but go there and have a good time. Like that. A lie. Religion is for crazy people, 382. Just shut up and cash the checks, 181. Do no harm, 162. Don't get into radio, 138. Take it from me. After all these years of just hard sweat over this damn cold microphone. Sugar is the worst drug in the world, 92. Boy, I ate enough carbs yesterday to sink a battleship. Just not good. Not good.
No.
Candy and, what is that stuff? Like caramel corn?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, just tons of crap. Body wash isn't gay, 73. It's the only way to go, body wash. Drop the soap and kick it. Kick it next door. Let somebody else use it. And don't be a sport hole, 67, especially on days when they're talking about golf. Oh. It just makes me want to put my head in my hands and cry and just like a baby. Golf. Such a sport, man. Golf. Here's today's poll. In your opinion, the worst drivers in South Florida are... Now, this is pretty interesting because
It's like a race for second between everybody else.
Well, no, the first time we did this, which is years ago, I guess, old Jews won it, just barely edging out the Haitians. But I guess the old Jews, a lot of them have died off by now, you know?
I guess. They ain't contenders anymore.
Sunrise Lakes, Tamarack, places like that. So anyway, the Haitians have taken first place. We have 680 votes. You got your 1,000 look today, Chris. No problem.
All right.
All right. That's a good sign.
Sounds good.
Isn't it a good sign?
Yep.
Haitians, 240. Especially those little jitneys, you know, in Dade County. What do they call those?
Jitneys. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Those Haitian bus drivers. Wow. Look out. Look out, man. Haitians, 240. Teenagers, 116. That's because they're drunk, stoned. They want to see if they can get it up to 150 mile an hour, which they can't, except unless they got my vet. Old Jews, 116, tied with teenagers.
Right. I think you should just put old people in general on here. Sorry if I'm screwing up all your plans.
Women, 106, and old Julios, 102. What, do you want to put, like, old white people?
Just old people.
121, right. And 21 is 142. That's how many delegates Obama's ahead of Hillary. They just flashed it up there on the screen.
Uh-huh.
He's 142 ahead. She's got no chance.
No.
She can't catch him.
No, but you know what she's
going to do?
Now all of a
sudden, the same bitch that said, Michigan and Florida shouldn't count, and we're not going to campaign, and we all agree to this, and now all of a sudden, these people ought to have their votes counted. They ought to be represented. I mean, they deserve to have you right. Desperate, grasping for straws, okay? In other words, play by whatever rules the Clintonistas set up to try to get her ass in there. 680 on the poll. I think our goal today is about 45,000. We can do it.
The biggest names.
The best talent.
This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
Hey, yo, man, what's up with your forgotten sport?
Hello?
Hello, I was calling about the wabbits you have for sale in the paper.
Okay.
What kind of wabbits are they?
Okay, I have some lops.
Yeah?
And I have some lops. Some spotted lops and some solid colored lops.
Oh, wonderful.
And I have a straight-eared doe, and I have two dwarfs.
A widow dwarf?
They're small rabbits.
Oh, okay. We have a farm. And we like to play with the wabbits on a farm. You wouldn't happen to have any, little wabbit handcuffs?
Any what?
Little handcuffs for a wabbit?
Handcuffs?
Yes.
No, sir, I never heard of them. What,
Well, we use them when we hunt them on the farm. We like to hunt the wabbits. And we take them and nail them to a tree by their ears and then skin them alive.
Do what?
Hello?
No, if that's what you're going to do with these rabbits, sir, I couldn't sell you a rabbit.
Well, we have a little game we play called All Wabbits Must Die.
No, sir, no, sir, no, sir. I wouldn't sell you a rabbit for $50.
I like to hunt the wabbit.
Well, that's okay. You go out in the wild and you hunt rabbits, but these aren't for kill.
I like to put them in a little pen and then hunt them down unmercifully.
No, sir, I'm sorry. Couldn't sell you a rabbit.
Sometimes we even spear them through the head with a rusty water.
Oh, boy, I wouldn't sell you a rabbit. How about some Welsh rabbit?
Okay.
Well, I had to play that because it's Easter time.
Or
Isn't that the only thing we hear about the Easter bunny and all that other... What is the significance of the Easter bunny and the Easter egg?
You know, you ask these questions, I try to answer them, you talk over me, you don't want to hear it, so
I'll listen.
Never mind. No, you don't. You know, all the Christian religions are superimposed over the top of originally pagan religions, right? And this is another one of those. Spring festival, fertility, eggs, rabbits. Rabbits have sex a lot, and they have a lot of little baby rabbits, so they're a fertility symbol. Eggs are a fertility symbol. So it's
you mean like Muslims?
Pagan,
they have rabbits and Muslims. They
pagan imagery.
See, a lot of babies.
Christmas,
a lot of future
tree,
terrorists in my building here, I'll tell you that.
See how he does it?
Oh, and speaking of here, last night, right in the Air Canada Center, one of the most disgraceful performances in the history of professional sports. That's why all this business about having 85 sports stations. I mean, who's kidding who here, man?
I know, it's going to bring more people to sports.
The football team, the so-called professional football team, won a game, okay? They won a game, The Heat, they've won, 12 games all season long or something like that, 11 or 12?
12.
They lost last night here in Toronto, 96-54 to the Raptors. 96-54. That's the third lowest total, 54 points, since they've been keeping records in 1954-55 in the NBA. 54 points. Well, what's the point of even showing up, huh? Pat Riley, you idiot. You
fairy.
Where's when they need him, huh? He's gone. I know where the hell he is. Will you just relax? Let's see. Here's a fax. Somebody sent an email to George that said, Quebecers, French Canadians need to be on there, especially in Hollywood. Oh, yeah, worst drivers.
I want to change my vote.
French Canadians.
Of any age or gender.
Right. French Canadians. That's all. Get it on there. Frogs.
Couldn't drive their finger up their butt.
Oh, my God. I want to say it again because I'm sure there are plenty of frogs in Florida right now. Go back where you came from, okay? Everybody hates you like poison, and legitimately so. I mean, your behavior is so grotesque.
Sure.
Speak parlez-vous français? No parlez-vous français.
The prices on the products aren't negotiable.
Stuff it when the moon don't shine, okay? What?
The prices on the products aren't negotiable. Stop haggling with the cashier.
Oh, go away. Take your nickel tip and stick it in your bottle of Pepsi and get lost. Yeah, tip this.
I don't know what that is.
Tippy Canoe and your mama, too. Go away. Everybody hates you people like poison. And like I said, rightfully so. If I ever tell you I'm going to Montreal again, I want you to have me bake-a-rack.
I will.
You know, I do the same thing all the time. I never learn my lesson. I keep saying, oh, this place really sucks. You know, it's the most horrible... I mean, the first time I went to Montreal, the first couple of times I noticed the great restaurants, and they had the big casino out there, which for, a plunger like me, at least it was somewhere to go and gamble, but the problem is they don't pay. They just take, it's a one-way deal. Just put the money in, nothing comes out. Which isn't my idea of too much fun, you know what I mean?
I know.
And then they got these frog women that sit there. There's a row of 10 Wheel of Fortune dollar machines, and there's this one, I've seen her 3 times now. I mean, I've only been there like a half a dozen times. Maybe it's just bad luck. And she's playing 3 machines at the same time. She's sitting at one, she's playing that one, and the one to the right of it and the one to the left of it. And she's shoving in the coins and the whatever. Plus, they're still doing coins there in Montreal. Now, when's the last time you saw a casino that's still doing coins? Even at Woodbine, they canned that about a year ago.
Right.
They're doing the tickets.
But coins sound better when you win.
Oh, get out of here. They're doing the loony, and they do the loonies and the toonies, man. Your hands get all schmutzy and, that is assuming if you get any out, but probably won't. Keeps it nice and medicinal that way. French Canadians, man, parlez-vous, go back to Quebec. In your opinion, the worst drivers are Haitians, 249, teenagers, 121, old Jews, 118. The ones who are sitting about a foot below the steering wheel with their hands up above their head, going about 40 miles under the speed limit, and that's when the speed limit is 35. Old Jews, 118, women, 113, of all ages. I'm going to tell you, and I've told you this many times, the worst drivers are scared drivers.
Right.
Which here, they must be almost all of them scared, because they all drive way too slow. Too slow.
That's not the way it was in B.C. when we used to go up there.
Well, I'm not in B.C.,
Maniacs. Okay? Old ladies would pass us.
Not here. Old Julio's 107, and French Canadians, they just went on there, have already got 2 out of 710 votes. Frogs.
Mm-hmm.
Parlez-vous, take your loonies and go back to Quebec and Montreal and Hull and Ottawa, wherever the hell you came from. Get lost. You're disgusting. You're grotesque. You're cheap. You're obnoxious. We don't speak French in South Florida. In fact, we don't even speak English, so what the hell are you talking about? That's right. Get out of here. Democratic presidential candidate, this is some bad news. See, it's the old smear and schmear. That's what they're doing to Obama now, and it's working. Hillary Clinton has moved into a significant lead over Barack Obama for the first time in weeks in the race for the party nomination, according to the latest Gallup poll. The March 14 to 18 national survey gave Clinton a 49 to 42 edge over Obama. The poll has a margin of más o menos 3 points, 49 to 42. Gross. Gallup said it was the first statistically significant lead for Clinton since the tracking poll conducted February 7 to 9. The 2 candidates had largely been locked in a statistical tie since then, with Obama last holding a lead over her March 11 to 13. Gallup said polling data also showed presumptive Republican. And why do they always keep saying that? Presumptive, my ass. Presumptive.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe they mean if he lives long enough.
Mm-hmm.
And what's with Jew Lieberman attached to his ear? I mean, what is that all about? You notice they're like attached at the hip, and Lieberman keeps whispering sweet nothings in his ear? No, it's the Sunnis, not the Shia.
That's how it's going to be. I think that's practice for how it's going to be when that's president and vice president combo there.
I got news for you. Jew Lieberman would do the same thing for McCain that he did for Al Gore. Every anti-Semite, especially in the southern states, but not exclusively, will come out and vote resoundingly against anybody who's running against McCain if Lieberman's on the ticket. Anyway, McCain leads Obama 47-43 and leads Swillery 48-45. But Gallup said the lead was not statistically significant. Well, whatever that means. Gallup, of course, is a Republican pollster, and I'm sure that they're doing everything in their power to try to get Swillery in there, you know. Hey, be sure and fill out your brackets for the big tournament, all you college hoops people. So somebody sent me on a MySpace thing a link to do my picks. Get out of here. Go away with that crap, okay? Get a life, will you please? Jeez.
I have no life.
I mean, I can't even believe that George is doing well. George is hoping he wins some money again.
I'm sorry?
George is desperate for the cash.
With what?
That college hoops thing.
Oh, yeah. I won money last time. Why not?
Yeah. Just log on to WQM.com, register to play Hoops Hysteria. Picks can be made round by round and bonus points given for picking upsets. Hoops Hysteria online at most prestigious WQAM.com. Got it?
The best talent.
This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
All the crap you can unwrap. All the slime all the time.
Okay, now I haven't previewed this yet, so I don't know if there are any sounds in here we're going to have to dump out of this.
It's okay, I already played it.
My skin's clammy and damp since I had that big lunch.
It's okay then?
It's just fine, yes.
I feel my stomach cramp. I've got more than a hunch.
That's fine.
Lord help me please. This is total torment, and if I sneeze, I just might have an accident. Hope this stall has a real good vent. Grab my belt and head for the bathroom door. Sweet relief, I can't take it anymore. Whoa, diarrhea, can't get off the bowl. I've been through almost a half a roll. Diarrhea, here it comes again. Did I eat that? I cannot remember when. Just when you think it's ended and all your strength's expended, it's time to sit down and go again. Diarrhea, someone make it stop. Plop, plop, it's time for another drop. Figured I was okay after taking Pepto. Thought I was done for the day, but then it hit me, oh no. I had to go, so I started sprinting, about to blow. In so much pain my eyes were squinting. My body was doing more than hinting. And fell right into a trance. Almost tipped while I got into my stance. Whoa, diarrhea, can't get off the bowl. I've been through almost a half a roll. Diarrhea, here it comes again. Did I eat that? I cannot remember when. Just when you think it's ended and all your strength's expended, it's time to sit down and go again. Diarrhea, someone make it stop. Plop, plop, it's time for another drop.
Wow.
Yeah.
One moment, please.
Okay.
What the hell is that?
What?
I have a voicemail on my thing.
Yeah, you want to...
And I have no idea who it is or what it's all about. Isn't that exciting?
You don't recognize the number that it came from, or does it not show?
Oh, wait a minute. 35, yeah. I don't know who the hell that is.
Huh. Maybe,
Okay, anyway, it's 10:33. Well, I shouldn't do that, but I mean, just got a voicemail from somebody that I never heard of, and I have no idea what the number is. That's the way it goes. South Florida television station WTVJ was put up for sale by its corporate parent NBC Wednesday.
Oh, my God.
In a move that startled other local broadcasters. NBC executives told station staffers in an hour-long meeting Wednesday afternoon that they'll sell WTVJ 6, but retain Spanish-language WSCV 51, the flagship station of NBC's Spanish-language Telemundo network. How do you like that?
Increíble.
The sale, which is expected to take a year to complete, will mark the first time since NBC acquired WTVJ in 1987. Now, let me see. Maybe this is, it's the expat bulletin from the Telegraph. I'm getting all kinds of crap on here now. It's getting me very aggravated.
Wow.
First time since NBC acquired WTVJ in 87 that a major broadcast network's affiliate in South Florida has changed hands. That sale touched off a mad scramble of call letters, channel numbers, and network affiliations as station ownerships and broadcast alliances changed. And some local broadcasters wondered yesterday if the history will repeat itself. My email is just jammed right now, said one executive at a local station. Everybody wants to know what it means. What does it mean? What does that mean? Everybody wants to know what it means.
I don't know.
Officials at NBC and WTVJ refused to comment on the announcement, but in an NBC memo to WTVJ staffers obtained by the Herald, the network said it plans to sell both WTVJ and its station in Hartford, Connecticut, to raise money to expand its operations on so-called digital platforms like the Internet and cell phones. We've taken a hard look at our portfolio and made some difficult decisions about what's best for our business going forward, said the memo from John Wallace, head of the division that oversees NBC's owned and operated stations. It said the network will operate stations only in the top 10 U.S. TV markets. Fort Lauderdale is 16, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Hartford 29. So they're out. So what does that mean? Maybe they're bringing back Ralph Redneck, you think?
I doubt it.
And maybe Bob Weaver?
Sure.
And Del, what was his name? Del, the great newsman. Del Frank. Barney Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Barney Fagg. 740 votes on the poll, comfortably going to slide into 1,000 today. Noah Swetsky. Chris, aren't you excited?
I'm very excited.
Yeah, Chris is all whipped up into a frenzy. I'm excited because tomorrow's Good Friday and I'm not working on Good Friday.
Hey, so am I.
So are you what?
I'm off.
You're off tomorrow?
Yeah, I just found out today.
Come on.
Where are we going?
Woodbine?
No.
No, what does that mean? You're off tomorrow.
Well,
so who's working tomorrow? George is working all by himself from taking
noon.
Oh, Josh Cordes is going to be working tomorrow. Well, isn't that something?
Yeah, apparently Darrow asked him if he would be able to work one of the days,
and
then he never got back to him. And so this morning I see Cordes. He's like, "Hey, was I supposed to work for you one day?" So the two of us kind of told each other what we heard from Josh. We put it together. And he's like, well, I wanted Monday off anyway, so if you're up for taking, Friday off, then I'll work for you, and then I'll have Monday off. I'm like, all right, fine, that's cool. Because, management doesn't really, take care of that stuff, so.
I haven't got any idea what you just said, and you know what? I don't really care anyhow, but nevertheless.
I'm off
it's
tomorrow.
Not like a big deal, okay? I don't want to burst your bubble, but it's not like the end of the world.
Hey, when I get one day off a week, it's nice to have two.
The owner of a famous cheesesteak shop, see, you messed me all up now. You screwed up all my deals, all my arrangements. The owner of a famous cheesesteak shop didn't discriminate when he posted signs asking customers to speak English, a city panel ruled Wednesday in Philadelphia. In a 2-to-1 vote, a Commission on Human Relations panel found that 2 signs at Geno Steaks telling customers, "This is America," when ordering "Please speak English," do not violate the city's Fair Practices Ordinance. Shop owner Joe Vento said he posted the signs in October 2005 because of concerns over immigration reform and an increasing number of people in the area who couldn't order in English. No pique de inglés. Vento said he never refused service to anyone because they couldn't speak English, but critics argued that the signs discouraged customers of certain backgrounds from eating at the shop. Like in Montreal and other parts of Quebec. No speak frog, then get out of here. Commissioners Roxanne Covington and Bert Siegel voted to dismiss the complaint, finding the sign does not communicate that business will be refused, withheld, or denied. In a dissenting opinion, Commissioner Joseph Centeno said he thought the signs did discourage some customers. The sign appeared immediately above another sign that had the following words, "Management reserves the right to refuse service," Centeno wrote. Geno's and its chief rival across the street, Pat's King of Steaks, are 2 of the city's best-known cheesesteak venues. A growing number of Asian and Latin American immigrants have moved into the traditionally Italian neighborhoods in recent years. No speaking Inglés. Vento had threatened to go to court if he lost. His attorney, Albert Weiss, said he was pleasantly surprised by Wednesday's decision. We expected this was not going to go our way, Weiss said. Kind of like Ty Tommy, whatever that spot is. Remember him?
Sure do.
In February 2007, the Commission found probable cause against Geno's for discrimination, alleging that the policy discourages customers of certain backgrounds from eating there. The case went to a public hearing where an attorney for the commission argued that the sign was about intimidation, not about political speech. The matter then went to the 3-member panel for a ruling. Nick Talaferro, the commission's executive director, said he would not appeal. Well, there you go. So what does that mean? Don't go there. If you don't speak English, don't go there. They don't want you. They don't want your money. They don't want to look at you. They don't want to smell you. Oh, speaking of smelly people again. Oh, my God. I was thinking about that. It's a good thing I was only there 15 minutes yesterday. Because having talked about that on the air yesterday, that was foremost in my mind about people who smell really bad. And so as I walked around, everyone was like, oh, geez. Oh, I could just swoon. Man. Talk about trashy people. To me, only trashy people smell bad. Am I wrong?
No.
People with even a little tiny bit of class.
Right.
At least they take a bath once a month,
Even po folk. Soap
That's
is
right.
cheap.
Even people with soap. And hot water is free.
That's right.
Hot water is free, folks.
Almost free.
All you old Chinese-man, hot water is free.
Even if it isn't, you can take a cold shower and use soap. It still works.
And the Russians, man, what is their story?
Well, when you're talking about Eastern Bloc and Europeans in general, I don't have to tell you about Europeans, do I? You hear those stories all the time from people that go over there and come back.
Hear what stories?
About how bathing is kind of an optional thing over there.
Really?
That's what I
It's
hear.
like in French, man, where they make all that cologne and perfume and all that high-priced crap. They don't use it, they just sell it. I'm serious. Good golly, Miss Molly, talk about a stench. I'm sure I'm not the only person in the world who feels this way. If somebody stinks, I don't want to be near them. I don't want to smell. There are few aromas worse than the smell of smelly people. Oh, and under, smelly pits, all that crap. Well, I'm getting hit from all sides today. Here's a fax from WB, who's becoming chronic now. If you're taking any additions to your poll or just willing to discuss it, what about crotch rocket motorcycle drivers? I want them all to die in a fiery crash and burn where nobody else gets hurt. 140-mile-an-hour wheel stands is a bit over the top. Is it possible all teenagers learn to drive on their Xbox 360 or PlayStation? They suck and are dangerous to mankind in general. Says WB. Well, I don't know. We're going to put motorcycle, I don't know. I don't want to. You want to?
No, I think that's cool when they do that. I mean, they're only going to kill themselves. They ain't going to kill
right.
me.
If they want to kill themselves, more power to them, especially if they're doing it without a helmet. 19 till 11 at 560 WQM. We got the Jerk Show at Doral at 2, Mad Dog at Doral at 4, Hurricane Hotline not from Doral from 7 to 8, and then the NCAA College Hoops 8 to midnight from Westwood 1. No DA tonight.
Neil Rogers got.
It is so great, I can vibrate. We got sex toys in Texas. Glad I can. Who needs a man? We got sex toys in Texas. I gotta have it, my little rabbit. We got sex toys in Texas. Have you heard the buzz? It's all because we got sex toys in Texas. We got sex toys in Texas.
Well, congratulations to you. 1046 at 560 WQAM. Well, this is kind of a strange day today. I don't know what it is. There's something in it. Is it in the water?
Really?
Maybe it is in the water, those chemicals.
What you feeling?
Al-Qaeda leader Osama Yamama bin Laden. And by the way, great job, Mr. President, on the gas prices and the American dollar and on chasing down Osama Yamama and Mullah Omar and all those Zagoyim. Osama Yamama warned Europe yesterday it faced a reckoning for the cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad published in Danish newspapers, according to a U.S. monitoring group. In a recorded message addressed to the intelligent ones in the European Union, bin Laden said that publishing the cartoons was an insult and a greater crime than Western forces targeting Muslim villages and killing women and children, according to the site intelligence group. And the reckoning for it will be more severe, site said, quoting from bin Laden's audio message as first of the year. The Al-Qaeda leader also warns if there is no check on the freedom of your words, then let your hearts be open to the freedom of our actions. And cryptically, he said the Muslims' response to the insult will be, what the enemy sees, not what they hear, said site, which monitors Islamist websites. Bada beep, bada boop, bada bop. He said, Islama Yamama.
Are you threatening me?
And my name is Osama. Not Obama, Osama. Or something like that. 756 votes on the poll, but we're going to be close to 800 by 11 o'clock. We're way ahead of schedule here on our pace to 1,000.
Right.
And if we get 1,000 votes today, I'm not showing up tomorrow. So what's the deal? Cordis and George tomorrow from 10 to noon. Then we got that UM basketball game against St. Mary's School for the blind little kids. I mean, come on. Say UM and St. Mary's. Can you imagine how many people are going to be listening to that?
About 30,
but
man.
it's college hoops, man. You don't get it. It's the Hurricanes. Oh. Cenk Uygur writes, different standards for black and white preachers. This is a good column. It's short and right to the point. One thing I like about him.
Yeah, he don't jank you around?
He's like Doug Thompson. He doesn't write long, ponderous things, so it's easy to read him, and he gets right to the point, and he says it. He pulls no paunches. Like the Beast, he pulls no paunches. He's still alive, by the way, the Beast, do we know?
Yeah.
How do you know?
He was doing updates yesterday.
Yesterday?
See.
Well, when you're in his condition, yesterday is could be a million miles away. You know
One
what I
day
mean?
at a time.
Well, I'd ask Josh, but, he's not here.
And by the way, that call I had, that voicemail thing on my BlackBerry, that was a crank call.
Oh, how nice.
Huh, I wonder who that could have been from. Certainly wasn't from anybody here. Rudy Giuliani's priest has been accused in grand jury proceedings of molesting several children and covering up the molestation of others. Giuliani would not disavow him on the campaign trail and still works with him. Mitt Romney was part of a church that did not view black Americans as equals and actively discriminated against them. He stayed with that church all the way into his early 30s until they were finally forced to change their policies to come into compliance with civil rights legislation. Romney never disavowed his church then or now. He said he was proud of the faith of his fathers. Jerry Falwell said America had 9/11 coming because we tolerated gays, feminists, and liberals. It was our fault. Our chickens had come home to roost, if you will. John McCain proudly received his support and even spoke at his university's commencement. Reverend John Hagee has called the Catholic Church the Great Whore. He has said that the Antichrist will rise out of the European Union. Of course, the Antichrist will also be Jewish. He has said all Muslims are trained to kill and will be part of the devil's army when Armageddon comes, which he hopes is soon. John McCain continues to say he's proud of the Reverend Hagee's endorsement. Reverend Rod Parsley believes America was founded to destroy Islam. Since this is such an outlandish claim, I have to add for the record that he's not kidding. Reverend Parsley says Islam is an Antichrist religion brought down from a demon spirit. Of course, we are in a war against all Muslims, including presumably Muslim Americans, but since Parsley believes this is a Christian nation and it should be run as a theocracy, he's not very concerned what Muslim Americans think. John McCain said Reverend Rod Parsley is his spiritual guide. What separates all these outrageous preachers from Barack Obama's? You guessed it, they're white, and Reverend Jeremiah Wright is not. If it's not racism that's causing the disparity in media treatment of these preachers, then what is it? I'm willing to listen to all other possible explanations, says Jank, and I'm inclined to believe that the people these preachers go after are more important than the race of the preacher. It's one thing to go after gays, liberals, and Muslims. That seems to be perfectly acceptable in America. It's another to accuse white folks of not living up to their ideals. I think there's another factor in play as well. The media is deathly afraid of calling out preachers of any stripe for insane propaganda from the pulpits for fear that they'll be labeled as anti-Christian. But criticism of Reverend Wright falls into their comfort zone. It's easy to blame him for being anti-American because he criticizes American foreign and domestic policy. If Reverend Wright had preached about discriminating against gay Americans or Muslims, there probably wouldn't have been any outcry at all. That falls in the category of respect their hateful opinions because they cloak themselves in the church. But one thing is indisputable. The enormous disparity in how the media has covered these white preachers as opposed to Reverend Wright. Have you ever even heard of Rod Parsley? As you can see from what I listed above, all these white preachers have said and done the most outlandish and offensive things you can imagine, and hardly a peep. If the disparity in the coverage isn't racist, then what is it? Nice going, Jank.
Good one.
I do like parsley potatoes, though. Not Rod Parsley, but how about Walter Paisley?
What about him?
Chicago harness driver. Come on, Walter Paisley.
Sorry.
I wonder if he's still alive. You better Google it.
Are you serious? Okay.
No, of course I'm not serious. Will you just relax? Jesus. God almighty. What's happened to you? I think
what happened to me?
All this strange.
You're doing this all the time. What's happened to you?
You
say that all the time. Google this, Google that.
Yeah,
some dead person from 100 years ago nobody heard of. Why should this be any different?
And am I serious?
Usually you are.
No, I'm not.
Some Neanderthal.
You wouldn't even know how to spell Paisley.
Sure.
How do you spell it?
P-A-I.
S-L-E-Y. Good. Google it.
No.
Not. I'll Google it myself. I'm going
to Google it.
In your opinion, the worst drivers in South Florida are, we got 769 votes. We're off to a raucous start on the poll, 771. Our goal today is 125,000 votes easy. If we don't get that, Chris is fired.
Uh-oh.
400, like I said, 495 million votes. No, you're doing just fine, okay? You're a little goofy, but that fits in.
All right.
Cordes, of course, is just a drunk. With my money. See that? That money could have gone to help clothe the homeless.
Yeah, right.
Help feed a starving family in America somewhere.
Listen, I gotta defend him. He's not just a drunk, all right? He's much more than a drunk.
What does that mean?
He's a drunk, but he's much more than that.
Meaning what?
He's a good guy too.
I'm sure there are a lot of drunks who are good guys. Okay.
I don't know a lot of drunks.
Well, I'm sure that you'll run into them. Probably at Gulfstream on next Friday.
I hope so.
George will be at Gulfstream next Friday.
I aim to be one of them.
Maybe they'll give you a bunch of booze. Maybe they'll give you a bottle.
Sure. Just bring it on over.
Jack Daniels. You just drink it out of the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
773 votes. The worst drivers in South Florida, Haitians, 268. Teenagers, 129. Boy, the Haitians are way out ahead of everybody. How do you like that? Old Jews, 127. They used to be the worst, but most of them are dead now. Women, 122. Old Julios, 117. And frogs, French Canadians, they've been a late addition, but they got 10 already. And believe you me, those frogs, they are unacceptable. Your behavior's, disgusting. And don't go to the beach with those Speedos, okay, with your big pupik hanging over there. People are disgusted and grossed out by you. That should be, Mara Gulati in Hollywood, before she finally got voted out of office, which should have been a long time ago, instead of worrying about T-shirts that say life is a beach, she should have made it illegal for the frogs to wear those Speedos at the beach in Hollywood. Because that, as you know, is where a lot of them congregate, Hollywood and Hallandale, Frog City.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why would anybody who's got a huge pupik, who's disgusting to look at, want to go looking like that anyway? Just to gross everybody out? Is that the purpose?
They're oblivious. They don't know how gross they look.
When in doubt, gross everybody out. That's right. The frog creed, baby. That's the frog credo. Look at that Marathon gas station. Where the hell was that? $3.22 for regular. Station cited for price gouging.
Drivers were paying an extra 70 cents a gallon.
I was getting gas just before they changed it, so I didn't buy it.
Indiana's Attorney General isn't buying it either.
Indiana, they're gouging. They're adding on, making an extra 70 cents a gallon just, because the public is stupid. And they'll figure, that's what it's supposed to be. $4 gas, station cited for gas gouging. Look at that, $4.15 for premium. Somewhere in Indiana.
Beyond the range of reasonable prices. If they bought fuel at these stations, they need to take their receipts back into the station, and they'll get a credit then.
No, what they need to do is take a lighter back into the station.
The biggest names.
Good box of matches like in the Birds. Remember that?
Sports Radio 560
Nope. In the Birds?
The sports leader.
This is the Neil Rogers Show. This is your brain. Any questions?
They're screwing us, the price is too high. I can't afford to put no gas in my ride. You know that price ain't never gonna go down. Nobody seems to mind how much they get gouged. Rate's a good thing, or so it seems. Rate's a good thing. They're raping you and me. Nobody's concerned enough to abide. Yeah, fine. What's on TV tonight? Big oil's gonna do whatever they please. To them was just a bunch of mindless little sheep. Rate's a good thing. You just let it be. Rate's a good thing. You don't seem worried. Rate's a good thing. Nobody seems to mind. Rate's a good thing. About the oil price. Rate's a good thing.
It's 11:01 at 560 WQAM. Happy spring. Happy Purim. Oh, I can't say it. I gotta have her say it.
Right.
I say it. It's like,
Happy Purim!
See, she says it with so much more ebullience. Oh, I hope the ebullient guy don't call in, that jackass.
And if he did.
If he did, it would be a waste of time. I'm not taking no calls on this show, I'll tell you that. George likes the calls, though. He's going to get some great calls tomorrow, I'll guarantee you.
That's
Between
right.
10 and noon. What?
Mm-hmm. You know it.
In fact, I think everybody ought to get poised right now. Get to your phone right now, and Chris will put you on hold for tomorrow morning.
Matter of fact,
between 10 and noon.
On Good Friday, we should have good calls, right?
That's right. Good calls on Good Friday.
Right.
It's a good time for the great taste. That's what Noodle said.
Good food and doing good times.
It's a good time for the great taste.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Neil.
Neil, this is Noodles, reminding you that it's always a good time for the great taste.
A U.S. House Committee chairman has begun an investigation into the electrocutions of at least 12 service members in Iraq, including that of a Pittsburgh soldier killed in January by a jolt of electricity in the shower. Representative Henry Waxman, with his pig nose, chairman of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, said yesterday he's asked Defense Secretary Robert Gates to hand over documents relating to the management of electrical systems at facilities in Iraq. They're not working too good, you know? They're not getting like too much electricity, too much water, these kinds of
all of these things.
Staff Sergeant Ryan Masseth, 24, died January 2nd of cardiac arrest after being electrocuted while showering at his barracks in Baghdad. Also yesterday, Masseth's parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit in Allegheny County Court against KBR Inc., Kellogg Brown Root, the Houston-based contractor responsible for maintaining Masseth's barracks. What did I say, barracks? Did I say barracks?
I think you were thinking that.
That's bad. That's in bad taste. He got electrocuted. He's dead, for Christ's sakes, and you're making fun of it? That's bad taste, man. The lawsuit, which seeks unspecified damages and cost, alleges that KBR, Kellogg Brown Root, allowed U.S. troops to continue using electrical systems which KBR knew to be dangerous and knew had caused prior instances of electrocution. I expected that if I lost one of my sons in the war, it would be due to an IED or firefight, Mayseth's mother, Cheryl Harris, told the AP yesterday. I never expected to hear he would be electrocuted and something so senseless happened to him. An Army investigation found that his death was due to improper grounding of the electric pump that supplied water to the building, Waxman said. Mayseth died after an electrical short in the pump sent a current through the pipes. Chris Eisleib, a Defense Department spokesman, said the Pentagon has turned the matter over to the department's Inspector General for a full investigation. Right, that should make everybody happy. Since 2003, at least 12 service members have died in Iraq as a result of electrocution, according to the Army and Marine Corps. In October 2004, Waxman said in his letter the Army issued a safety alert that noted 5 soldiers had been electrocuted that year, and improper grounding was a factor in nearly all the cases. And it just goes on and on and on. The carnage, the killing, the butchering, the lunacy, the insanity. All these dead people. Nice job there, Mr. President. And, of course, your vice president was busy fishing yesterday in Oman. Let's see. Here's a fax that says, I rely on you for the information I can't find. Oh, this is from one of our regular iodine faxers. Right. I love the bedtime stories, but... Oh, get out of here. If I may humbly suggest you name the article, where to find it, and who wrote it before you read it. Then do not mention it again till after you read it, save for a comment like nice going. Your taste and intellect are impeccable. Don't I always say who wrote the article?
Yes, you do.
If it's a column by somebody, if it's just something in a Reuters or AP like that nobody ever heard of before, just somebody with a byline, what's the point?
Right. Not only do you read the the title and who wrote it, but then you mention it's on the website, so it's not hard to find.
Your taste and intellect are impeccable. From time to time, a bedtime story hits so perfectly, I want to find it and pass it along to people I know. Could you please mention the article, author, and origin of the pieces you orate? No. Sometimes I can, and sometimes I do, and sometimes I can't, and sometimes I don't. And sometimes I will, and sometimes I won't. I know several people who absolutely need to see the piece you read earlier. They've switched away from Barack because of this insane pastor thing. If we lose because of this, then religion again will be the reason for more death and misery. Could you repeat where you found the article and its author? I know sometimes they're posted on your site, but they're not immediate and sometimes difficult to find later. Where am I going to find that? I know that when he's talking about that, it's by Cenk Uygur, okay? It's on our website. I'm sure, but let me look.
Cenk it off of there.
What?
Huh?
You better watch your language, mister, because Joyce is out to get your ass.
Yeah, I got her ass right here.
You'd probably like it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Is she Irish?
There's Marine Dowd. What?
Is she Irish?
I wouldn't care. I'll make an exception in her case.
Now, where the hell am I going to find that? I mean,
online.
Maybe it's not on our website today. Maybe I just found it this morning, so it would be on there for tomorrow. You think?
Maybe.
Now, maybe if I go to my Outlook Express and I can find the article on there that I sent to be put on there. You think? What do you think?
Eric says, why don't they use the Google search of the site on the home page?
You're not listening to what I just said.
Well, I'm just telling you what Eric said in the little box here.
Well, forget about Eric, okay? He's doing a lot of drugs. Let's see. Sent items. Now, let me find a Cenk Uygur. You see, oh, here you go, different standards for black and white preachers. I knew I'd find it. SmirkingChimp.com, that's where you'll find it, okay? Today, SmirkingChimp.com by Cenk, C-E-N-K, Uygur, however the hell he spells his name. That's where it is, okay, iodine? See, don't tell me that I don't go the extra 84 yards to try to pacify these people. But, I mean, I can't just sit here and spell it all out. And that's why the good stories like that one are on our website, which that one will be on there tomorrow. But it's on SmirkingChimp.com this morning, right now. So grab it. Go get it. Squeeze it. 8:05 on the poll, by the way. We got that 1,000 lick today, boy. We're on fire. We are... Flaming! Democratic presidential... Now, this is by Steve Holland from Reuters. Does anybody know who that is or care? No.
No.
I mean, if it's by, like a column by Maureen Dowd or somebody ever heard of before, Paul Krugman like that, I'll say so. Or Doug Thompson, or Robert Scheer. Don't I always say that?
Yeah.
So there you go. I don't want to be defensive about it, but Jesus, Kate Christ. Can you please come over to the house and spoon feed my children too, and the chimp also needs some breakfast? Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton now argues that the North American Free Trade Agreement needs to be renegotiated, but newly released records show on Wednesday she promoted its passage. The National Archives and the Clinton Presidential Library jointly released more than 11,000 pages of Clinton's daily schedule as First Lady from 1993 to 2001. The release came in response to charges that she's overly secretive and also allowed her campaign to promote her argument that she gained valuable White House experience during her years as First Lady. She knows where the silverware is. She knows where to find the fine china. Clinton and Obama are battling to win well, Pennsylvania, we know that. April 22, but that's a long ways away. The documents clearly indicated Clinton had a powerful role at the White House, frequently meeting foreign leaders and presiding over meetings. The NAFTA agreement linking trade between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico was considered a major accomplishment by Bubba in 1994. But now many Americans blame the agreement for the loss of thousands of U.S. manufacturing jobs. NAFTA has become such an issue on the Democratic presidential campaign trail that both Clinton and Barack Obama have vowed to renegotiate it. The former First Lady's record showed that Clinton worked on behalf of the Accord, Swillery. Among the thousands of details of the daily life for Swillery, there's a November 16, 1993 entry, a NAFTA briefing dropped by in room 450 of the executive building next door to the White House, closed to the news media. About 120 people were expected to attend the briefing, and Swillery was to be introduced by White House aide Alexis Herman for brief remarks concluding the program, no relation to Billy Herman. The documents, while a mundane accounting of Clinton's daily movements, brought back some reminders of the Clinton's White House tenure. On January 26, 1998, for example, the day Bill Clinton declared, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman," Monica Lewinsky, First Lady Swillery, had a busy day, including a roundtable discussion with students from her alma mater, Wellesley College. Later, she went to New York for an education event and spent the night at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. The weather forecast on that day's schedule said, mostly cloudy, high 37, low 27. When Swillery appeared at a January 1999 event at the Kennedy Center, it was Beth Dozeritz who escorted her to a seat, according to the records. Dozeritz, 2 years later, reportedly was linked to a last-minute drive that succeeded in persuading Bubba to grant a pardon to fugitive financier Mark Rich, a decision that's haunted Clinton in his post-White House days. The documents also show the First Lady got herself quickly immersed in what would be a failed attempt to revamp the U.S. healthcare system. Swillery's first known meeting to discuss health care came just 3 days after Bubba's January 20th, 1993 inauguration, yada, yada, yada. There you go. So she was all for NAFTA until, of course, it started costing everybody all those jobs. And now, I was always against it. I was against it before I was for it, and now I'm against it because I'm running and yada, yada, I'm desperate. Grasping for straws.
That we're going to have, finally, the opportunity to really address a lot.
Yeah, address. Get out the envelopes and address them, okay? I'll put the stamps on them and you address them. That's a good job for you, Swillery. That's about your speed. Hey, don't forget to fill out your brackets for the big college hoops tournament. Just log on to WQM.com, register to play Hoops Hysteria. Your picks can be made round by round, and bonus points are given for picking upsets. Wow. Sounds pretty exciting, but I'll pass. Hoops Hysteria online at WQAM.com.
The biggest names.
The best talent.
This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
Now see here, for the record, I quit, and I did not get fired. You people did not want more around anymore. Well, kiss my phony ass, 'cause I ain't never coming back. And I knew that you'd miss me, about as much as Bob Dishy. I knew that you'd miss me. That's a horse. You took my magnificent talents for granted. And one rape too many. Well, now I'm gone. Long as Ginger keeps his show in Florida, someday he'll be as famous as Mark Shinebaum. Your ratings after 2 are now in the turtles. Now it's your turn to get raped. You might as well turn your crappy signal into outer space. Did you see that? I knew that you'd miss me. This cantankerous yiddy. I knew that you'd miss me. Hey, can't you see I'm trying to do the backup for the doors over here? Am I ever going to get you out of my life?
11:18 at 560 WQM. Boy, that Panthers got that big game against Carolina tonight at the Mac Arena. You going to be there, George?
Oh, yeah.
Big game. They're only 4 points out of that 8th and final playoff spot. We love the Panthers. Jacques Martin's a frog. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Go back to wherever you came from. Go back to Ottawa, Jacques Strap. Broward losing population for the first time in history.
Oh, my God.
How do you like that?
Broward!
For perhaps, and then this is by Robin Benedict, by the way, for the guy, the faxer there, who wants to know the name of everybody who wrote every article I read on here. In the Sun Sentinel, Robin Benedict. The headline says, Broward losing population for first time in history, and then the very first sentence says, for perhaps the first time in its history. Broward, talk about hedging your bets. Broward County lost population. 13,154 more people left than arrived during the past year, according to U.S. Census estimates released today. The loss would have been more dramatic had it not been for newborns and the continuing influx of immigrants. Since 2003, out of every 4 new Broward residents were foreign-born. Broward's population now totals 1.76 million.
Broward!
In the past 2 years, 55,808 more residents left the county than moved in from other states. That's roughly the population of Margate. Well, you know something? If Margate vanished tomorrow, would it be a big deal? I don't think so. Do you?
No.
Who needs it?
I don't.
I'm sure we have a few listeners in Margate, but including that crazy bastard, that gun nut. What the hell's that guy's name? Who keeps trying to get back on my MySpace again. I have to keep deleting. He's a crazy person. What the hell's his name?
You asking me?
It'll come back to me. I don't know what it is. Since 2004, the county has attracted between 13,000 and 14,000 foreign-born residents a year, gaining a total of 107,000 since 2000. It's very clear that growth has slowed down substantially, said Stan Smith, director of the Bureau of Economic and Business Research at the University of Florida. It's partly due to the economic slowdown and the slowdown in job creation and the housing problems Florida's been facing. Annette Reinhardt of Hollywood is among those trying to flee. It's getting too expensive for me to live here, and I don't have a nest egg, said Reinhardt, who has lived in Broward for 30 years.
About 30, man.
And works at a lighting factory. I feel I'm crazy staying here when the cost of living is so much less someplace else. Her 3-bedroom home with a pool in the lakes area has been on the market since last year, and the divorced senior citizen is shopping for a home in Knoxville, Tennessee. Oh, my God, talk about desperate. Tennessee. Wow. Census officials and demographers said they can't find any evidence that Broward, traditionally among the nation's fastest-growing counties, has ever lost population before. The census has been taken every decade since 1790, and in recent years has been updated annually. Well, I bet you there were some good restaurants there in 1790. Let's do a poll on which was your favorite.
All right.
The new census figures show only 2 other metropolitan areas. Detroit and Cleveland lost more people than Broward did from July 2006 to July 2007. Detroit and Cleveland, I can understand that easy, especially Detroit. Oh, my God. This is a real alarm, said William Fry, a demographer with the Brookings Institution, a Washington public policy think tank. Don't you often wonder about these think tanks and this group and that group and the Heritage Foundation, all these other Nazi bastards, you know? In a way, Broward is a bellwether for the rest of the country, and if Broward's losing people, which in itself is so surprising, that shows how Florida especially is hard hit by this housing crunch. It's crunch down, baby, and you're getting crunched. He and others predict the population slowdown is temporary. They say growth nationally is relatively stagnant because people aren't moving around as much in a recession and houses aren't selling. They also blame rising property taxes and insurance as well as lower wages for making the area less desirable for the time being. Florida is too much of an attractive place for this continuing long-term, Fry said. Smith of the University of Florida agreed. I think the next couple of years will be very slow in population growth, but as you go through the next decade, Florida in general will see growth return to normal levels. Florida grew by almost 200,000 people to 18.25 million last year. The year before, the state grew by 321,000. While Broward was hardest hit, 9 other Florida counties lost population as well. Pinellas County near Tampa dropped 5,400. Pinellas County is St. Pete, isn't it? Yes. And Monroe County lost 1,174. Others that dropped by a few hundred to 1,500 people were Bay, Charlotte, Escambia, Franklin, Glades, Jefferson, and Okaloosa County. Who would want to live in a county named Okaloosa? Wouldn't you be embarrassed?
Yeah.
I live in Okaloosa County.
It's no Oka
Yahoo! God. Palm Beach County grew by only 99 people to 1.27 million from 2006 to 2007. So if you're a newcomer in that period of time in Palm Beach County, congratulations. A big change from the year before when the county's total population grew by over 7,000. Dade County gained almost 11,000 people to 2.39 million, about 9,000 fewer than the year before, and 4 of them actually speak English. From 2005 to 2006, Broward grew by a total of 2,038 people. There's another siren. You hear it?
I do now.
Wow. Here comes the paddy wagon. They're coming to take me away. Richard Ogburn of the South Florida Regional Planning Council speculated some of those leaving Broward are immigrants. For the most part, they're middle class, he said, whereas Dade tends to attract a wealthier newcomer. Remember when Dade was getting all the people with the drug money from Colombia and places like that? Remember those days?
Mm-hmm.
Back when everybody was running around with suitcases full of money at the Omni and buying VCRs and stuff. Of course, nobody buys VCRs anymore because they're passé, but nevertheless. Remember those days?
Yep.
Drug money.
Yep.
What you have are people who were counted up 1 year as immigrants who came to Broward and moved up from Dade, and then they move on, Ogburn said. Maria Luisa Vincentini, 47, a Venezuelan awarded political asylum in January, said she came here initially because she had to leave her homeland quickly, and her brother offered his vacation home in Pompano Beach. Now she's looking for work in translation and broadcasting. She plans to stay. I like it here, she said. People are friendly. We have everything we need 20 or 25 minutes away. People are friendly. Well, she came from Venezuela, you know, where they came down from Las Montañas at night to hunt her and... steal and rape. And
that's right.
Plunder and plute. Plunder and plute. These things. You ever see that movie, Plute?
No.
How about Flute? Clute.
I thought Clute.
Who was in Clute? Donald Sutherland?
I'm not sure. Paul Newman?
Paul Newman was in Clute?
I don't know.
He was also in that horseball movie that you made me watch. Cool Hand Puke.
Yeah, I made you watch it. Watch out Mice and Men, finally.
I haven't watched that yet.
I know, it's good.
It's in there. I got it in the other room.
I know, it's good. It's got Ray Walston in it.
I'll make a deal with you. I'll watch it if I can go do it now.
Did you see Breach yet?
No, Breach hasn't made the rounds. I've been looking
it's funny because
what are you laughing about?
That other one that I'm supposed to watch hasn't made the rounds either, so it's weird. We got different cable systems.
Vacancy?
Yeah.
Oh, you'll like that. It's a horror movie. Well, it's not really a horror.
No, I'll watch it.
Huh?
I'll check it out.
You'll like it. 819 votes on Chris's poll. He knows he's got the 1,000 made today, and that means I'm not coming in tomorrow.
Me either.
I'm going to get up real early and get in the Pontiac and go to a Woodbine. In your opinion, the worst drivers in South Florida are Haitians, 282. Old Jews, 137. Old Jews are moving up now. Teenagers, 136. Women, 128. Old Julios, 120. French Canadians, 16. And let me say it again, no matter what category it is, what demographic, what gender, what anything, no matter what category we're talking about, the worst drivers are the scared drivers. If you're scared, pull it over to the side of the road, get out, lock it up, take the keys, throw them away, and get lost.
Biggest names.
The best talent.
This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio your 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
Stop right now.
Everybody gonna get a rebate. Spend some dough.
All right.
When you get your check, spend it real quick at the store. Everybody gonna get paid. Make the recession go away. That's why you're all gonna get a rebate. So here you go. I'd rather you didn't put it in a bank or get your credit card bill paid. 'Cause there's something we can all do to keep the recession far away. So go down to Best Buy or get a new car and go drive. Everybody gonna get a rebate. Spend some dough. Try to forget that we're all in debt. Oh no. Everybody gonna get paid. Make the recession go away. That's why you're all gonna get a rebate. So here you go.
Don't forget, send all those rebate checks to me and George, and Chris will take one or two of them too. We'll give you a little spillage, a little slop over.
All right.
Not too much. 11:31 at 560 WQAM. U.S. Senator Chuck Hagel writes in a new book that the U.S. needs independent leadership and possibly another political party, while suggesting the Iraq War might be remembered as one of the 5 biggest blunders in history. All right, Chuck, you go, baby. In the current impasse, an independent candidate for the presidency or a bipartisan unity ticket could be appealing to Americans, Hagel writes in America Our Next Chapter, due in stores next Tuesday. The Associated Press obtained an advance copy. How do you like that? By the way, this is from CapitolHillBlue.com, and nobody wrote it. Okay?
Okay.
It doesn't have a byline on it. Somebody wrote it, but for iodine.
Okay.
There's Barack.
Hard-working, one of the most intelligent individuals that I know in the Senate. Somebody who, the moment I got there, I immediately gravitated towards because he is somebody who doesn't take himself seriously.
Like us. Anyway, Hagel says in the current impasse, I already read that, the Nebraska Republican who announced last year he wouldn't seek a third term or the GOP presidential nomination has been widely mentioned as a running mate on an independent ticket with New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Bloomberg said last month he wouldn't run.
He's Jewish.
Oh, yeah. Hagel said that despite holding one of the Senate's strongest records of support for President Bush, his standing as a Republican has been called into question because of his opposition to what he deems a reckless foreign policy that's divorced from a strategic context. Hagel, who's been a harsh critic of the war since 2003, writes that the invasion of Iraq was the triumph of the so-called neoconservative ideology as well as Bush administration arrogance and incompetence, to which I would say you are
absolutely correct, sir.
The Vietnam veteran said he hoped the lessons from that war would give the nation's leaders perspective before troops were sent to Iraq. To the astonishment of those of us who lived through the agony of Vietnam, these lessons were ignored in the run-up to the Iraq War, he writes. Hagel said Vice President Dick Cheney and others cherry-picked intelligence and used fear to intensify war sloganeering. See, war is not just about killing and like that. War is about business. War is a business. Right. During visits to the Middle East in December 2002, Hagel said Israel's top security officials asked, "Do you really understand what you're getting yourselves into?" Hagel said Bush personally assured him that he would exhaust diplomatic avenues before committing troops to Iraq. The senator said he voted for the war resolution based on those assurances, but regrets the vote because now it's clear the lawmakers were presented with lies and wishful thinking. Last year, Hagel was the only member of his party on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee to support a non-binding measure critical of Bush's decision to dispatch an additional 30,000 troops to Iraq. There is no strategy. This is a ping-pong game with American lives, Hagel said at the time, and again, he was absolutely correct. But the media can't be worrying about that, because Obama's preacher is a Schwarzer who talks crap, Oh, boy, this is what it all boils down to is crap, you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
You know exactly what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
Crap. 836 votes on the poll, man. We're going to be we're way over 1,000 today. Oh, I can sleep in tomorrow late if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to get in that Pontiac tomorrow morning, although I'm afraid to drive it. Remember that guy that said, "Oh, you afraid to drive, Neil? Are you afraid to drive?" Oh.
People say the stupidest things.
Yeah, exactly. They really do. Just anything to take a shot. I don't mind taking the shots because I'm contrary to that polio that I'm not thin-skinned. Otherwise, I could have done this for 100 years. You can say whatever the hell you want. As long as I get paid, I don't really give a crap what anybody says. That's why those people who take the shots, oh, we're gonna really get him. What do I care?
They wish.
What do I care? Stupid, idiotic jerks like even the bridge tender said. I wonder if that guy's dead. He's got to be by now.
He's got to be.
Got to be dead. Maybe they buried him like right underneath the 79th Street Causeway. Now that bridge was a pain in the ass, remember?
Mm-hmm.
It was always going up at the most inappropriate times, and you'd sit there and you'd wait, and wait. Don't you think that's like passé?
Yeah.
All these rich bastards with their yachts, with their big yacht. Go some other way, okay? Don't go across that across that bridge. Go some other way. Turn around and go home. Rich people with yacht, like what's her name there? The alleged Cuban singer. What's her name? Gloria Estefan, who couldn't sing her way out of a paper sack. You could stick her talent in a thimble and have room for the Chinese army's asses left over in there. And by the way, don't discount the Chinese. Let me tell you.
What do you mean discount them? How can you discount them? You could barely count them. They're so damn many.
Talking about from a sexual standpoint.
Oh, I wouldn't know and probably won't.
Well, why not?
Women have flat asses. I mean, if I ever see one that's got a...
Fat glasses?
A substantial ass or an ass worth grabbing.
Oh, in other words, a woman has to have a substantial ass for you to be interested? Is that what you're telling me?
No, but it helps.
And what if they're really beautiful and have voluptuous breasts?
Okay.
No? You're an ass guy, huh?
George is an ass
cute.
Man. It's got to be cute at least.
What, the ass?
Yeah, they got nothing.
Get out of here with the ass, okay? Ass,
That's way better than what you're into, man.
Well, see, all the rumors are that all of us are into ass, and quite frankly,
let's take a poll.
Poll on what?
Yeah, what's nicer, a woman's ass or what you're into?
Oh, speaking of that, Hugh Hefner is in the news.
Speaking of that is right. Nice segue.
John Friedman, on John Friedman's Media Web, says... over the course of my 1-hour chat last week with Hugh Hefner at the Playboy Mansion's library, the king of hedonism told me about his strict upbringing in Chicago, the early days of Playboy magazine, and how the conservative nature of the 50s helped spawn a media empire. The thrust of this article is, if I can find it in here somewhere, he's supporting Barack Obama. This is an article about all kinds of other things, which he's 81 years old, and he's got 3 live-in girlfriends. The girls next door of the popular e-cable TV show whose ages are a fraction of his. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
I mean, just because you're an old toad, does that mean you have to be banging old broads that are all saggy and gross and...
Yeah, whores.
Where's the thing about Barack Obama? I can't find it. Besides the pictorial displays of sexy young women, the magazine's signature has been the Playboy interview. He smiled when he recalled that then-presidential candidate Jimmy Carter said during a Playboy interview that he lusted in my heart. Hefner hopes to get Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton to consent to interviews. In this campaign, Hefner said he's supporting Obama, whose victory would send a message that the U.S. truly is a country of dreams. Some of them even dry. How do you like that? Hugh Hefner, he's supporting Barack.
Incidents of PTSD skyrocket between the second, third, and fourth tours of duty. We have a sacred trust to our troops and our veterans, and we have to live up to it, and we have not yet done so.
You go, Barack. Kick some ass, baby, and put that preacher back in the freezer, okay? Until after November. Stick his ass back in there.
This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
Jason, you're on QAM.
We don't have any National Guardsmen because they're all fighting a war in Iraq right now.
Not the National Guard.
Pardon?
Not the National Guard.
No National Guard in Iraq?
There's no National Guard. No.
All right, you trained monkeys. It's the Mohammedan show. And we're going to have a little change of pacemakers here once again. What we're going to do here is talk about restaurants, like Ginger Rogers over there. The Seagrape Apartments. Hello.
Yeah. I'm really excited about the heat.
Get out of here. and we run Lexus spots. The dangerous side of Melrose Park. Hello.
You know that Tiger Woods situation? Well, he's
That was close. Now, see here. From now on, I don't want none of yous calling my show with any epithets. You understand? Call it Ginger Rogers over there. Why am I sandwiched between these men? I tell you, with all you trained monkeys. I don't need this. I'm out of here.
Hiya, Pally.
What do you want, Fatso?
I just thought you'd want to know about the trained monkeys in the parking garage.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Get out of my way, you lard ass. Bunch of bubba-mizy. What the? Roy.
You saw.
Mickey Dolenz.
We've been waiting for you.
Roy. Wait a minute. Now, hold it. Yes? Ain't you Roscoe Lee Brown?
You are quite correct, sir.
I did not know you were gay.
Okay, 11:45 at 560 WQM. We got the Jerk Show from Doral at 2 for all you golf nuts out there. Oh, baby, aren't you all whipped up about that? About the Tiger and this stuff? Not. Boring. Vince in Margate says, belated welcome back from a fan in Margate. Today's poll is missing a-holes on cell phones. And then he says, hope all is well. Yeah, all's well, Vince, as well as can be expected under the circumstances. Everything is just fine. And you know something? In the last couple of days, I realized when I find out about other people's travails and problems, sometimes you take your own situation a little bit too seriously and you realize how lucky you are. Like, some of these things should be my worst problems, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Other people have got issues. I mean, not that we don't all have issues. In fact, that's a stupid, I hate when people, she's got issues. He's got, well, who doesn't have issues, you know? Why do they say that?
Right.
So we're putting that on there, a-holes on cell phones on the poll. That's
sure, why not?
We'll get a lot of votes. There'll be a lot of votes, and you'll notice that when you'll see a lot of people driving erratically and too slow and like weaving and wandering, and you'll finally get past them while you're swearing and shaking your fist and screaming and honking your horn, and you'll see they're not paying any attention to you or to their driving because they're on a cell phone. Now, I have mixed feelings about that, and the fact that I don't take any calls anymore, I don't really care whether they ban cell phones in cars or not. I used to, from a selfish standpoint, think that would be bad for us because then you wouldn't get, Eddie on a mobile like that, you know. Am I right?
Right.
Look at those floods in Misery, baby, and that's because God is really porked off at them. He hasn't figured out why yet, but he's PO'd. His wrath waxes hot. His wrath shall wax hot. Oh. They're like that poll yesterday, man. That's it. The religious people are the crazy people. They're dangerous, and the more religious, the more dangerous they are. I think today I'm going to go out and buy a limo.
Okay.
Oh, man. Now, I don't know about you, but have you ever, well, this is a stupid question because in your case you do it every day, but you ever just had the desire to go and do something really stupid, really crazy, like really irresponsible?
Yeah, and then I do it.
Yeah, well, I know.
Almost every day.
I do, too. 861 votes on that poll. In your opinion, the worst drivers in South Florida are, once we get to 1,000, I'm changing the poll. It won't be that fast, though. It should have been more. Didn't we have like 999 when we started? We had a pretty good start today, as opposed to yesterday. And then we made 1,000 yesterday. It was a miracle. Remember that at the end of the show? I bet you Chris remembers.
Oh, of course I do.
You're sure to remember. Your course has gone to hell in a handbasket because all those drugs. And all those chicks with the great ass.
Says.
What?
Asses.
They have more than one?
Chicks with great asses.
Now that's a good grammatical dilemma there. Is it chicks with a great ass or chicks with great asses?
Like I said, I got A's in English, buddy.
Oh, me too.
Good.
I was a genius in school, and then look what happened.
Yeah, you're such a failure.
I was voted most likely to succeed by my peers in high school, as a matter of fact. And look at this. I'm the most successful graduate of my high school class.
How do you like that?
According to my buddies from high school. I don't hear from them anymore. I heard I was corresponding with that one who came up with his girlfriend. Remember that? And we had dinner. I wined and dined them at Ruth Chris. We had a great meal and a great chat. We reminisced. It was great. Went on for hours and hours. And then I heard a couple more emails from him, and that was the end of it. In fact, generally, the only time I get any emails from anybody from back in those days is to tell me somebody we went to school with died. Many of them committed suicide.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And you think back to that and you wonder, why does somebody commit suicide? Maybe they got up in the morning and they looked in the mirror and they realized they were getting old and ugly, and maybe they had some miserable, nasty spouse who was nagging and annoying. And
maybe they stopped having sex.
Is that what does it? I did that a while back.
That would
and
do
I
it
haven't
for me.
killed myself yet.
Yes.
I just don't even recall what it's all about. Just vaguely.
It's about fun.
Oh, just vaguely.
I mean, you might as well.
Every now and then when I'm sitting in Woodbine, I see somebody really, really hot, and I think, now I remember exactly what it's all about. But then they run. I don't care what you say about the Asians. Well, you're not one of those people. Well, you just said the Asian women have flat ends.
No. We weren't talking about Asians. We were talking about the Chinese. I've seen beautiful Japanese women with nice asses.
Japanese people are so, generally speaking, I'm sure there's some beautiful Japanese people, but generally speaking, they're pretty ugly.
We're talking about different genders anyway.
Chinese people, on the other hand, are beautiful, and they got, man. And the ones that were born here as opposed to in China don't smell bad. The ones that were born in China, they're old anyway.
Couldn't disagree more.
What?
But we're talking about different genders. Maybe the Chinese men are, spectacular, and the Japanese men are ugly,
See, there's a stereotype, especially among gay males, that Chinese guys are all hung like a rabbit. Well, who cares? Number one, who cares about that except a size queen, which I find obnoxious.
Right.
And number two, that's not necessarily true. There are exceptions to the rule. If you do enough homework, that's what I've been doing. I've been touring, traveling, scouring the world.
Researching the world.
Now, Robert Shear writes this on the Smirking Chimp, from Truth Dig. Anything else I need to add to that? SmirkingChimp.com, Robert Shear, Bush's legacy of failure is the headline on the article. That idiotic what me worry look just never leaves the man's visage. Once again, there was our president presiding over disasters and part of his making and totally on his watch, grinning with an aplomb that suggested a serious disconnect between his worldview and existing reality. Be it in his announcement that Iraq was being secured on a day when bombs ripped through that sad land, or posed between his Treasury Secretary and Federal Reserve Chairman to applaud the government's bailout of a failed bank, George Bush was the only one inexplicably smiling. Failure suits him. It's a stance he learned well while presiding over one failed Texas business deal after another, and it served him splendidly as he claimed the title of President of the U.S. after losing the popular and maybe even the electoral vote. It carried him to the most ignominious chapter of U.S. foreign policy, from the lies about Iraq's weapons of mass destruction to an unprecedented presidential defensive torture. The totally unwarranted assurance was there this week as the once proud dollar fell into the toilet and the debacle of Iraq and Bush's other failed Mideast policies pushed oil prices to record highs. The Europeans, who didn't support the U.S. imperial intervention, are doing much better, not having to pay for guarding besieged oil pipelines while U.S. taxpayers are saddled with trillions in future debt, not to mention 4,000 U.S. military deaths and 30,000 U.S. injuries in a war the administration had promised would be paid for with Iraqi oil revenues. Even in Baghdad last week, there wasn't enough oil to keep the lights on for more than just a few hours. But the president's happy because his legacy issue, the war on terror, is intact, no matter this week that the Pentagon was forced to release a report conducted over the last 5 years that concluded after surveying 600,000 official Iraqi documents captured by U.S. forces that there is no smoking gun establishing any connection between Saddam Hussein and al-Qaeda. The report was so embarrassing that we taxpayers who paid for it were not going to be told of its existence, even though the explosive conclusions were totally declassified until ABC News forced its posting online. The network reported that the Pentagon had canceled plans to issue a press release or make it available by email or otherwise online because, as one Pentagon official put it, the study is too politically sensitive. Damn right it is. Bush squandered U.S. treasure and lives in an effort that had nothing to do with the infamous attack on America. As for the real war on terror against the real al-Qaeda, those folks are very much on the rebound, just where they were before the 9/11 attack, building their bases in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Meanwhile, back on the home front, Wall Street is crumbling, not because of planes crashing into buildings, but because the outrageous knaves of finance, freed from the most minimal requirements of public accountability, have been permitted to destroy America's reputation in the world for financial probity. In the name of ending what were claimed to be onerous regulations imposed after the Great Depression, this administration accelerated a bipartisan pattern of allowing Wall Street to betray investors with impunity while abandoning the federal government's obligation, once accepted equally by conservatives and liberals, to ensure our national solvency. This tendency, underway for decades to give the bankers what they wanted, codified in the Financial Services Modernization Act, which was signed into law by Bill Clinton and which permitted banks, stockbrokers, and insurance companies to merge, was exacerbated by Bush's appointment of rapacious corporate foxes to watch the corporate henhouse. They'll take care of their own, which is why Bush was smiling, happily posed in that photo op between Henry Paulson Jr. and Ben Bernanke announcing the Bear Stearns bailout, made possible only by the federal government using your tax dollars to pick up the bad debt of the banks. Tape that picture to your wall to remind you when you open a credit card bill with a 30% interest rate, not the 2% the Fed will charge banks, or see the increase in your adjustable rate mortgage, or just what your government will do for the really big guys that it will never do for regular folks. In the years to come, as millions lose their retirement income and homes, we'll have occasion to remember Georgie Porgy, who kissed the taxpayers and made them cry before he ran away. Georgie Porgy. That's what Robert Shear says on the Smirkling Chimp. Got it?
Got it.
Georgie Porgy made them cry. He sure makes me cry. Every time I see him, I want to cry. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. 874 votes on the poll. Come on, let's get that up there so I can change it. They're slowing way down now, and that's because of Chris.
What?
In your opinion, the worst driver? Well, you haven't been pushing it, man. I keep telling you, give it a little push.
Let's
Get
go,
off
people.
Their ass. Yeah, let's
Make
go.
me happy.
They're all
Get some
taking
votes.
off, man. It's the first day of spring. It's spring break somewhere, and it's Purim, and it's Easter weekend, all these things. And you guys are telling me there's nobody in town.
That's what it seems like.
And I'm sitting here trying to squeeze blood out of a rock, out of Iraq. 874 vote. In my opinion, the worst drivers are in South Florida. Haitians 303, Old Jews 143, like in Sunrise Lakes, oy vey. Teenagers 139, women 133, Old Julios 130, Frogs, French Canadians 22, and a-holes on cell phones, solamente cuatro. So far.
Biggest names.
The best talent.
This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
It's Dick Cheney. I like to relax by having Mary Magdalene massage my balls while listening to the Neil Rogers 12 to 1 hour.
New York Governor Eliot Spitzer linked to a major prostitution ring.
Can I ever have the cash to pay? 'Cause from all that I have learned, it's so expensive to get laid. What can I afford to give you? And when I should ever have to pay, $5,000 seems too high to get laid the governor's way. But then if you can't afford her,
you use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
keep saving, keep praying, blowing through your cash to shoot your seed. Hardcore, $5,000 whore.
You fairy.
A good time at bedtime. You cannot get this right for only $5,000 whore.
I'm getting my money's worth.
Could have bought
that's
yourself
good.
a Saturn with that.
That's the important thing, if you're getting your money's worth, honey. Getting your money, honey?
I know you weren't talking to me for that.
No, I wasn't calling you honey.
okay.
It was a rhetorical question.
All right. It was kind of paralyzed.
Getting your money's worth? Well, I was thinking to myself. No, actually, I
Right.
caught myself in midstream because I was thinking about some of the people I occasionally see. And I think to myself, boy, if I was really, really wealthy, I mean, if I was a multimillionaire, I'd always carry like a whole bunch of hundreds, in my wallet.
Yeah.
I'd have like a special pouch.
And say, is this enough? Is this enough?
Yeah,
Like that?
how much is enough, Let me know when to stop doling these out. But that's disgusting and grotesque, I'm sure, to a lot of people. And to some of us, it's perfectly reasonable,
Hey, whatever, none of my business.
That's right. This whole business about illegal prostitution, I mean, it's
Right.
asinine. It's
ridiculous.
insane. How can the government tell you what to do with your body?
Right. Why is it legal to give it away, but illegal
I mean,
to
does your
rent it?
body belong to the government? Of course not.
Right.
Uh-oh.
What the hell?
Oh, we got a
WTF.
fire alarm.
Mother F.
Hopefully this is a test, or I'm going to have to, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Maybe it's your heart monitor.
No, boy.
Maybe you're having palpitations, Pally.
Let's see what they say.
It's got a nice
It's going
beat.
to definitely be a false alarm.
Yo, give me a beat.
You can almost dance to it.
I didn't see nothing about any,
What do you mean
alarm.
almost?
Wait till they come on and they tell us something would be nice, like, this is a test of the alarm, or whatever the hell they say,
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can actually hear that because I got the door open. You think
Oh,
I can
yeah.
close the door, or should I let it keep going?
It almost sounds like
Whatever.
it's here.
What?
It almost sounds like it's at our place.
Pretty loud. What's the story, eh? Let me go and take a look out the door. Let me open the door and look down the hallway and see if there's any
Okay.
smoke. Jesus Christ, you maniacs, you lunatics. See, I'm in a dilemma now because I don't know whether to close the door so you can't hear it and it doesn't go on the air, or because if I do that, then if they say, hey, guess what, it's a real alarm and there's like some tourist down here or whatever, you know what I mean?
Hey, we're in radio. We're supposed to burn up.
We're what?
You know, when the alarm goes off over here in the station, we're supposed to stay right here.
Go down with the ship.
That's right.
So you're suggesting I should just sit right here?
That's right. I mean, you have a fire escape, don't you?
Wouldn't you think that they would come on and say something by now after this hysteria going on?
Maybe. I think you're going to be a slacker and pretend that it's a real thing and then take off.
I'm going to close the door. I can't possibly do the show this way.
All right.
If the building burns down, you'll know I'm dead, okay?
All right.
Anyway, I'm here. Just relax. Don't have to make a lot of noise there in the background, okay? I got enough noise in my background. Former White House advisor Louis Scooter Libby, convicted last year for lying to a grand jury and federal agents probing the leak of a CIA agent's identity, was disbarred from practicing law in the nation's capital today. When a member of the bar is convicted of an offense involving moral turpitude, disbarment is mandatory, the District of Columbia Circuit Court of Appeals wrote in its opinion, which is posted on its website. Last July, a court sentenced Libby, once vice president... Look at that. Here's a message from the professor. Get the hell out of there. I'm not getting out of here. Are you crazy? Oh, wait a minute. Here comes the now. Beep. What is that? Now they're going to make an announcement. One moment, please.
All right.
Wow, this is an old song.
Netta, can you name the tune, the title? Give you a hint.
Hearts on Fire?
Close. A little bit more grammatically appropriate.
Heart on Fire?
It's what Neil's going to be saying here if he doesn't get the hell out of this building.
My ass is on fire?
Close.
Hey, little girl, is your daddy home? Did he go and leave you all alone? I got a bad desire.
Rhymes with that. Ready?
Ooh, I'm on fire.
Another illegal alien, no doubt, one of our concierge. He comes on there, and they got an alarm on the second floor or something, in the I don't know what. And now they just stopped it.
So is it a real fire? Or?
I don't know. It never is. They have these, about 4 or 5 times a year minimum. Last July, a court sentenced Libby, once Vice President Cheney's chief of staff, to a 30-month prison term. President Bush later commuted Libby's sentence, calling it excessive. The president stopped short of an outright pardon, noting that our entire system of justice relies on people telling the truth. Yeah, telling the truth. Right. That'll be the day when we get the truth from these lying Nazi bastards, won't it?
I'm listening.
And now all of a sudden it went quiet.
That's quiet. It's like deathly quiet. Maybe everyone's burned up and dead.
Uh-oh. There's that sound. Yes? Oh, brother. Just another one of these BS deals, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Fire department's on the scene and go into a panic, you know. 893 votes on the poll. Boy, we're sure crawling along. I thought we were going to have the 1,000 real early. I'm going to change it when we get to 900. How's that?
Impatient.
What?
Impatient.
No, I'm not impatient. I just, Now, what are we going to do tomorrow? Now, we'll do all the bedtime stories over the weekend, even though I got the day off tomorrow.
Oh, thank
I don't
God.
want George to have to do that. Because when I was on vacation, George had some issues with that.
Right. Well, you said that there were 2 days. I only remember one where I posted 2.
There was a day when there were no stories. The 15th, I believe, which was a Saturday. Right. I do believe. I could be wrong, but I think it was,
Oh, that's when I went to that concert. Langarado. Yeah. No, man. I went from here straight to that concert. I didn't have time to do no stories.
What?
I was on the road, man. I was nowhere near a computer. Didn't get home till like 4 a.m. that night. Went straight from here out to the swamp to a party in the swamp.
So in other words, that's how much we can depend on you to be putting the stuff on the website. If you got a party to go,
Saturday morning. It was a concert.
I take back what I said about Josh Cordes. You're the irresponsible.
It was a concert, and I did them the following morning.
Drunk.
I did like 20 the following morning.
You're the low-down stoner, man. That's what you are.
Okay, what's your point?
Those people out there who live and die by our bedtime stories on the website would be like, what? All 10 of them. Just like that iodine guy. He wants to know who wrote them and where they came from, and etc. There's Rick Sanchez with a looking fat face.
Senators are almost saying that, no, it's actually been bad for the economy. Well, how's that play with soldiers that are coming back?
Oh, good God. It's just, something, there are times you want to take every TV set within about a 10-mile radius and just destroy them. Throw them over the balcony, throw them out the window. By the way, it's sunny and looks really beautiful, although I know it's not. Well, you want to know how I know it's not? Because I went this morning, which I never do that. I think that's the first time I've ever done that. I put on my clothes about 9:15 because I knew I didn't have enough soda to last for the whole show. I went out and bought extra last night, but I drank it. And if I don't have my diet soda here, I mean, I can't
Right.
talk for 4 hours. You know, you get a little
I'm
bit
hit.
dry. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Don't you have to have something to drink during the
Got
show?
a big jug of water right here next to me.
Yeah, you got a big jug, all right.
Oh, I got one right next to it, too.
900 votes. I'm changing the poll. Is that okay? Do I have Chris's permission? Then, of course, Chris
Yeah,
says,
sure.
"Oh, what's the matter? Are you sick? Are you under the weather?"
You know?
I know you were concerned. You were very
Exactly.
concerned. Am I right?
Exactly.
Does anybody believe that? No. You're
Everybody.
just a nervous Nelly, that's all. I mean, just because I got to have the soda doesn't mean I'm sick. Do I sound like I'm sick? I ought to be sick after all the crap I ate yesterday. I had enough carbohydrates to fill up a battleship. Even Noah would have been embarrassed.
How's that mac and cheese?
I didn't have no mac and cheese. I wasn't there long enough. Oh, here comes the final denouement. Here it comes. Have your attention, please. No speaking English. Yeah. We're investigating the problem. Please stand by for further instructions. What does that tell me? It tells me it's the usual BS. It's like, this is like the boy who cried wolf this building. If they ever did have a real fire, nobody would believe it anyway.
Right.
Oh, look at that.
What?
I just changed the poll. Here's the final result. 900 votes. In your opinion, the worst drivers in South Florida: Haitians 307, old Jews 146, teenagers 141, women 133, old Julios 131, French Canadians frogs 23, and a-holes on cell phones 19. Was a late addition, but did very nicely. And here's
Actually,
a bunch
has
of polls
22.
from our friend Sean in Hollywood. What?
It actually has 22
What?
votes, not 19.
Listen, will you stop being a nitpicker? Who cares? When we got to 900, that was what we had. Jesus,
We gotta make sure we hit that 1,000 today.
You need some help. Which of these things is most likely to happen in your lifetime? I'm voting for the second coming of Jesus. If he can play baseball on my team, Jesus. We got 9 votes on there already. World will run out of oil. Second coming of Jesus. Manned space flight to Mars. Peace in the Middle East. Oh, yeah. Cure for cancer, cure for AIDS, or legalization of marijuana in the U.S. Right, hold your breath on that one. Boy, that fire alarm thing, it just threw me for a loop. Get out of here with that. Now, here's that fax from Sean with a couple of polls. If you were Emperor of America, what would you decree? Movies, what does that mean? Movie Citizen X, based on investigation of Russian serial killer Andrei Chikatilo, was made for HBO, but so was The Hitcher. The Hitcher was made for HBO with C. Thomas Howell and Rutger Hauer?
Okay, nice
I
job.
didn't know that.
HBO does good productions, original stuff.
I don't understand this. I guess these are movies we're supposed to see. But anyway, whatever. He says, George is right about Breach. It's about the investigation and arrest of FBI spy Robert Hansen, and from what I've read of the case, the movie is pretty accurate. Despite the fact that Ryan Phillippe's acting is about as convincing as a Tom Cruise marriage. Oh, is he knocking my boy Ryan Phillippe?
That's what it
Come on
sounds
now.
like. He did a fine job, I thought.
It's a real fly opener, it says. On top of being a horrendous traitor, Hansen was an unstable pervert who sent his friends stag films of his wife, treated subordinates like downer cattle, and was such a fanatical Clinton-hating fundamentalist Catholic he made Torquemada look like a heretic. These are the people we depend on to protect us from the commies and terrorists. Sleep well. Also, it says, for the scratch you drop it with Vine, would they not send a car for you or comp your car fare? If I was the casino manager, I sure as hell would. And then here's the polls and the stuff. Let's see. The reason your poll isn't doing well is because Cubans aren't on there. They don't have to be old. They're all horrible drivers, says your close personal friend, the professor.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, well, it's too late now. We just changed that poll, okay? Get with it, okay? Get with it.
Thanks
I
a
know,
lot,
it's a shot
Professor.
at you there, George.
I know. Sounds like a shot at everybody. I didn't know he was such a bigot.
You don't like Cuban drivers. There's something wrong with that. No, nobody's complaining about the fact that we put old Jews on there or Haitians.
You put old Julios on there. I didn't complain about
Yeah,
that.
old Julio's is enough of that. And 24 votes on the new poll. Now, you see Method in My Madness? We'll have 1,000 before you know it. And then we can all go home and listen to the fire alarm reel.
The biggest names.
The best
I
talent.
think the commentators are from Guatemala or something. No speaking English.
The sports leader.
Have you been abused in the workplace, raped or screwed? Place your career in my silky smooth hands. Hello, This is Norma Kent for the lore orifices of Norma Kent. If you need me to conduct business on your behalf, let me explore for you. It may take up to 13 months for me to explore, but I will explore for you. Call 1-800. There's so many men to explore. That's 1-800. Maybe I should not schedule syndication meetings for Christmas Day. If your cell phone does not work because you're in California, call 1-800. I want to keep Neil hostage to South Florida. Call now, and you will receive a free cell phone, one that works almost as good as mine. That wasn't my cell phone. His name is Cesar.
Happy Purim!
Oh. 1218 is 560 WQM, and the good news is my door is open now. I can breathe the fresh air, and the Julio down there in the concierge is no longer mumbling a bunch of crap.
Mm-hmm.
The fire department is on the scene. They're checking it all out. Adam Nagorny writes in the New York Times. Now, you notice how I'm sneaking these all in there?
Yes. Very
well,
sneaky.
because I don't want to get any more faxes about, gee, well, you're going to read these articles, tell us who it is, blah, 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 where we find it.
Nothing is ever good enough. Have you noticed that?
Yes, I have noticed that. That's the South Florida audience, man. No matter how much you do for them, it's never enough.
Right. It's like being married.
It's like, that stadium, that ballpark is at a bad location. It's right at the Dade-Broward line. It couldn't be more centrally located in the two counties if they would have, tried. Oh, no, I want it right next to my house. I want it more convenient. Yeah. In fact, that's a good idea. Let's build a stadium right next to everybody's house. It says Clinton facing narrower path to nomination. This is in the New York Times this morning. Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton needs 3 breaks to wrest the Democratic presidential nomination from Barack Obama. In view of her advisors, she has to defeat Obama soundly in Pennsylvania next month to buttress her argument that she holds an advantage in big general election states. She needs to lead... here we go. This should be the finale for this whole thing, I hope. She needs to lead in the total popular vote after... Yes? See? Everything is fine, okay? Everything's been reset to normal. No fire, no problema. Shut up already, okay, John? She needs to lead. Yes? Good. She needs to lead in the total popular vote after the primaries end in June, and Mrs. Clinton is looking for some development to shake confidence in Mr. Obama so that superdelegates, Democratic Party leaders, and elected officials who are free to decide which candidate to support overturn his lead among the pledged delegates from primaries and caucuses. For Mrs. Clinton, all of this had seemed something of a long shot since her defeats in February, but that shot seems to have grown a little longer. Despite her last-minute trip to Michigan on Wednesday, Democrats there signal that they're unlikely to hold a new primary. That apparently dashed Mrs. Clinton's hopes of a new showdown in a state she feels she could win and left the state's delegates in limbo. The inaction in Michigan followed a similar collapse of her effort to seek another matchup with Obama in Florida, whereas in Michigan she won an earlier primary held in violation of party rules. Without new votes in Florida and Michigan, it'll be that much more difficult for Swillery to achieve a majority in the total popular vote in the primary season, narrow Obama's lead among pledged delegates, or build a new wave of momentum. She needs the big mo. Mrs. Clinton's advisors had hoped that the uproar over inflammatory remarks made by Mr. Obama's longtime pastor that has rocked his campaign for a week might lead voters and superdelegates to question whether they really know enough about Obama to back him. Although it's still too early to judge his success, the speech Mr. Obama delivered on race in Philadelphia to address the controversy was well received and praised even by some Clinton supporters. Tad Devine, a Democrat consultant who is not supporting a candidate, said Mrs. Clinton faced a challenge that, although hardly insurmountable, was growing tougher almost by the day. Mr. Devine said it was critical for her to come out ahead in popular votes, cut into Obama's lead and raise questions about Mr. Obama's electability to win over superdelegates. They're going to have to be flawless in executing the strategy, which achieves the goal of taking away the advantage Obama has in pledged delegates in the popular vote he added. Any major setback could undercut that goal. Obama's in the advantageous position. The race is certainly not over. With 10 contests remaining, Mrs. Clinton trails Obama by about 150 delegates of the 2,025 needed to secure the nomination. If there is a road to victory for Mrs. Clinton, it's a fairly narrow one. Her chief strategist, Mark Penn, said the campaign believed that when the primary voting was done, Mrs. Clinton would have a lead in the overall popular vote, that Obama's lead in delegates would be relatively narrow, and that polls would show her in a stronger position than Mr. Obama. Victories in contests where she's strong or competitive like Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Puerto Rico, and perhaps Oregon and Indiana could give her a burst of energy. No less important, the campaign hopes that Obama will have been battered by 5 rough weeks that raised questions about his past, including the pastor's incendiary comments that went underscore Swillery's warning to Democrats that they were rallying around someone who was untested and unvetted. The superdelegates aren't going to really decide until June, Mr. Penn said. He's just going through a vetting and testing process that didn't happen a year ago and is happening now. The whole vetting and testing process will make a big difference. It is in the interest of Mrs. Clinton's campaign to portray the contest as being highly competitive. Her campaign is intent on combating Mr. Obama's efforts to pick off superdelegates and increasingly are concerned that any sign that the window is closing could lead a Democrat like Al Gore or Speaker Nancy Pelosi to step in and urge Democrats to back Obama in the interest of unity. In truth, in interviews, Mrs. Clinton's advisor said that task was tough and growing tougher, and that the critical questions were what would happen with Florida and Michigan, and the possibility of developments involving Mr. Obama's relationship with his spiritual advisor, the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, Jr. The fight over Florida and Michigan is just partly about delegates. Victories in new primaries in those states are among the only realistic ways for Mrs. Clinton to erase Obama's advantage in the total popular vote. Obama's edge over Mrs. Clinton is about 700,000 votes out of 26 million cast. Excluding caucuses and the disputed Florida and Michigan results, about 12 million people are eligible to vote in the remaining contests. Aides to the two candidates said even with the best possible showing for Mrs. Clinton in the states ahead, it was hard to see how she could pass Obama without Michigan and Florida. She received 300,000 more votes than Obama in Florida in January, and Michigan, where none of her major opponents were even on the ballot, she drew 62,000 more than the rest of the opponents. Mrs. Clinton's advisor said that absent some deal to seat the delegates from those states, the campaign would still argue that the popular vote in Michigan and Florida be counted. Right. There's nobody else on the ballot, but let's count it anyway. Right.
Yeah, one.
The popular vote is the popular vote for all to see, said Harold Ickes, a senior advisor to Mrs. Clinton. For people to claim that because delegates weren't seated, you can't count the popular vote seems somewhat goofy. Right. Yet that could be a tough argument to make. None of the candidates campaigned in Michigan or Florida, and Mr. Obama's name didn't even appear on the ballot on the Michigan ballot. Finally, Mrs. Clinton's aides hope that disclosures about Mr. Obama's past, like the one invoking Mr. Wright, could give superdelegates pause. Mr. Devine said he thought that, at least in terms of Democratic primary voters, Obama had turned his furor to his advantage with his speech on race. Obama, confronted by an issue that was boiling, seemed to wade into it with a speech that was in many ways profound, Devine said. As a result, now these people who were so interested and awakened by his candidacy are back with him again. Instead of this being a setback, now it becomes an opportunity. But the audience now is as much the Democrat superdelegates who are especially attuned to politics and questions of electability in the fall as it is of rank-and-file voters. Swillery's advisors said they had spent recent days making the case to wavering superdelegates that Mr. Obama's association with Mr. Wright would doom their party in the general election. That argument could be Mrs. Clinton's last hope for winning this contest, says Adam Nagorny in the New York Times. Clinton facing narrower path to nomination. That's the headline in the article, okay, in this morning's New York Times, March 20th, 2008. Have I given enough information about where it is and what it is?
Thank you for that back announce.
For what?
The back announce, you know, like when you play a song as a DJ.
Don't forget to fill out your brackets for the big tournament. Just log on to WQM.com. Register to play Hoops Hysteria, baby. Everybody's hysterical, like Connie in The Godfather. She's hysterical. Picks can be made round by round, and bonus points are given for picking upsets. That's Hoops Hysteria online at most prestigious WQAM.com.
The biggest names.
The best talent.
This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
David's a bitch.
Welcome to my room. Welcome to my room.
It's time for the log. Not a monologue. Not a dialogue. Not this kind of log. Not a Lincoln log. Not a captain's log. Not log cabin syrup. No, it's not a log of anything worth your time listening to. So let's go to the log. That's not a dialogue. Not a pecan candy log. It's a log from the chocolate thunder from down under. I'm a chocolate thunder from down under. At ESPN, I made a little blunder. This was a little bit gamey in here. From the sport hole open.
I'm a chocolate thunder from down under. Oh, yeah, I prefer chicks. Quit working here, I can't say nothing. Heat me ball, heat me ball, heat me ball, heat me ball, heat shot, 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 heat shot,
Oh, yeah, they're going to be a big tune-in for that, too. The stats from last night's record-smashing performance by the Heat right here at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto against the Raptors. Raptors beat them 96-54. Is that the right score?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that's right. I wrote it down. 96-54. 42 points, almost double. And it was the all-time 26 points in the first half, which was the all-time low in any half against the Raptors. They were saying last night. Not that I watched that crap, but I turned over for just a second because I had seen the score on the sports channel, and I couldn't believe it, so I flipped over to it, and they were saying, oh, my God, the Heat really suck.
Yep.
And would you say the Heat suck or the Heat sucks?
Good question. The Heat sucks.
In the summertime, you bet. And all the other time.
They stunk.
Oh, okay. Well, he knows the rim man. Big game tonight at the Mac Arena, Carolina at your Panthers. We love the Panthers. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, they're on the verge. They're only 4 points out. I don't think they'll make it, though. They won 7 in a row. Sooner or later, they're going to lose a couple of games, and that'll be, oh, sorry. This is from the Sun Sentinel by Michael Mayo. Wow, Michael Mayo. I printed out a column by Mike Mayo. Well, about once or twice a year, he writes something that actually is meaningful and is worth reading on the air. Mike Hold the Mayo. You like that?
All right.
He says, just when Florida's science classroom seems safe for evolution, along come some legislators with a thinly veiled attempt to inject religion under the guise of academic freedom. The proposed Academic Freedom Act would protect public school teachers who present scientific information relevant to the full range of views on biological and chemical origins. The bill would also prohibit students from being penalized for subscribing to a particular position on evolution. The bill is written with so much mumbo-jumbo and wiggle room you wonder what the true motives are. The bill does not allow or authorize the teaching of creation as a more intelligent design, insisted Representative Alan Hayes, Republican of Umatilla, who filed the House version of the bill. Right, says Mike. Hayes said the bill would allow discussions about competing theories along with weaknesses in Darwin's theory of evolution. This protects the freedom of speech for teachers in the classroom, Hayes said. I want teachers to be able to show those holes in Darwin's theory of evolution without fear of chastisement. Great, then why not have provisions covering teachers in all subjects, such as health teachers who want to discuss a full range of information in sex education classes like birth control and abortion? That's more of a parental responsibility than a school responsibility, Hayes said. What kind of academic freedom is that, Mike Mayo wants to know? The bill is a reaction to last month's decision by the State Board of Education to formally include the word evolution in science curriculum standards for the first time. Broward and Palm Beach County Public Schools have long used the E word, but districts in other parts of the state have chafed at the mention of evolution. The old state standards, deemed inadequate by various science education groups, euphemistically mentioned biological changes over time. The proposed legislation, still in the early stages of the House, was pushed at a news conference in Tallahassee last week. On hand were religious conservatives, an attorney for a think tank, and Ben Stein, the eclectic economist, essayist, game show host, and actor, who's produced a documentary on intelligent design, which posits that life is too complex to be explained by evolution. I told you he was a crazy person, Ben Stein, didn't I?
You're right.
Hayes is a retired dentist who said he spent hours and hours in classrooms learning biochemistry, zoology, and organic chemistry. He's also a Baptist who believes that God created the world and all its creatures. I'd rather have our teachers teach kids how to think than what to think, Hayes said. Hey, I'm all for that too, says Mike Don't Hold the Mayo. So in that context, I'm not uncomfortable with having critical and wide-ranging classroom discussions that use facts to explore different views. I'm not even opposed to bringing up competing theories that touch on religion and science classes, so long as those religious explanations aren't endorsed. But if Hayes and other legislators want to go there in the name of academic freedom, then they should be consistent. If it's okay for science teachers to discuss the holes in Darwin's theory of evolution, it should be okay for health teachers to discuss shortcomings with the abstinence-only dogma that's been deemed the only acceptable talking point when it comes to preventing pregnancy and sexually transmitted disease. If it's okay for science teachers to talk about controversial alternatives to Darwin, it should be okay for health teachers to talk about birth control and abortion. At this point, we don't need to introduce any more controversy, Hayes said. It's already controversial enough. With intellectual inconsistencies such as this, it's hard to see this effort as anything other than a ham-handed attempt to keep the flames of religion versus evolution in public schools burning. Burning and flaming, like the fire alarm we had here a while ago, which they came on and announced a minute ago during the break. It's all reset, everything like that, but the elevators aren't working yet, and they're working on it. Now, do you know what that's going to mean if the elevators aren't working like at 2 o'clock?
It's going to mean you'll be inconvenienced.
It's going to be bad.
You'll have to
now,
use the stairs.
Can you see me walking up 25 flights of stairs? Which is really 50.
I can see you rolling down 25 flights.
Yeah, I'm talking about walking up.
Have somebody carry you.
Right. How about a forklift? Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, maybe I'll have to postpone lunch or something like that, because I'm not, I mean, it's one thing to like somebody, it's another thing to like them enough to, kill yourself with a heart attack to schlep up 85 flights of stairs. 83 votes on the poll, by the way. Good guess. I said, what did I say, 85 just a second ago? In fact, I bet if I refresh it, we got 84. There's Ali Felching on CNN.
Melissa Long from CNN.com Live joins us now.
I mean, can I ask you a question? It's like in radio. Like when Wendy Martez is on and some of the other people who don't belong on the air, like that, and you ask yourself, don't the people who run this place have ears? Can't they hear that these people don't belong on radio?
Sports.
And it's like some of the people they put on television, don't these people have eyes? Can't they see that these people are ridiculous and they're just patently offensive to people watching, just looking at them, and they don't belong on TV?
It's not supposed to matter.
But of course it does.
Of course it does.
It's a visual medium, baby. I don't want to see Ali Felching on my TV. Which of these, I know, turn over to MSNBC, okay? And they'll have some bubble-headed broad on there doing the news.
Very bizarre story, to say the least. Well, with all the important Pennsylvania primaries just around the corner...
See what I mean? Bubble-headed broad. She can't read 4 words without... like that. 84 votes. Which of these things is most likely to happen in your lifetime? Married... What is it? Married spaceflight to Mars. Oh... You know something? There's something about this day. I think I'm paying for being off for 2 hours tomorrow. It's all I'm getting off is 2 hours. Not a big deal. Not like some kind of a big, gigantic bonus. Manned spaceflight to Mars 21. World will run out of oil 19. Legalization of marijuana in the U.S. 17. Second coming of Jesus 12. Oh, yeah, I'm sure my neighbor's waiting for that. She's probably sitting on the stoop right now. Come on, Jesus. Cure for AIDS 9, cure for cancer 5, and peace in the Middle East only 1, because there's only one crazy person out there that crazy. A lot of crazy people, not that crazy.
This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
Rectum.
Gas range!
All right.
Gas range! We're at the pump and we have to pay. Gas range! Getting pissed cause the price is up again. Okay. We say Bush's oil buddies are the ones to blame. Oil! $10 every time I turn the key. Gas range! The profits are our pain and misery. We bleed while gas companies have a record day. Oh! I'm gonna scream and rip off the heads of those oil guys. This is the gouging that will make us realize. Oh! We've got gas rage.
Yeah, we got gas rage, okay? We're pissed off and fired up, baby, and that's just the way it goes. Thank you, Mr. President, for those great gas prices. OILMONEY, which we don't have much of either anymore. 104 votes on the new poll. That means we got over 1,000 all told today. Chris, aren't you proud?
Very proud.
Aren't you very pleased?
So pleased.
Police arrested more than a dozen people yesterday morning who crossed a barricade and blocked entrances on the IRS building. The start of a day of protest marking the 5th anniversary of the U.S. invasion of Iraq. The Iraq attack. A crowd gathered outside the IRS headquarters chanting, "This is a crime scene, and you're arresting the wrong people." A marching band led protesters down the street near the National Mall and around the IRS building before dozens of demonstrators gathered at the entrance. Protesters blocked the main entrance for a time, but no federal workers appeared to be trying to use those doors. Police detained 13 people who sat down at a side entrance. And they got a picture here on this story. This is, by the way, from the commondreams.org by Sarah Karouche. Here's Jim Barron, 80, posing in his home in New Haven, Connecticut. He wears hearing aids and has a pacemaker. And he was one of the protesters who was arrested. He looks really dangerous to me. Wrinkled up old guy, 80 years old.
Don't be fooled.
Looks like he weighs about 80 pounds.
He could kill you 5 ways.
The demonstrators said they were focusing on the IRS because it gathers taxes that are used to fund the war. Anti-war protests and vigils were planned throughout the day around the nation. At the American Petroleum Institute in downtown Washington, dozens of protesters held signs reading "Out of Iraq" and "No war, no warming," and chanted "No blood for oil." Craig Etchison, 62, a retired college professor from Cumberland, Maryland, and Vietnam veteran, said he's been protesting the war for years. "I've watched with horror as Bush has lied about this war," he said in front of the building. "I'm appalled at the number of civilians we've killed, just like we did in Vietnam." College students from New Jersey to North Dakota have planned walkouts, while students at the University of Minnesota vowed to shut down military recruiting orifices on campus. "This is the first time coordinated direct actions of civil disobedience are happening," said Barbara Bearden, communications manager for the group Peace Action. "People who have never done this kind of action are stepping up and deciding now's the time to do it." In suburban Miami, Linda Belgrave, a sociology professor at the University of Miami, and a handful of protesters dressed in black waved anti-war signs at drivers stuck in early morning rush hour traffic near the U.S. Southern Command complex. Belgrave said the group planned to lay flowers at the complex's entry fence later in the morning. "This is the beginning of the 6th year of this horror, and it's got to end," said Belgrave, 57. The Iraq War has been unpopular both abroad and the U.S., although an AP Ipsos poll in December showed that growing numbers of the U.S. Think that the U.S. is making progress and eventually be able to claim some success in Iraq. Oh, yeah. We're doing it. They actually have a little bit of electricity a few hours a day. Not too much. The findings of rarity in the relentlessly unpopular war came amid diminishing U.S. and Iraqi casualties and the start of modest troop withdrawals. Still, majorities remain upset about the conflict and convinced the invasion was a mistake, and the issue still splits the country deeply along party lines. Activists cite frustration that the war has dragged on for so long and hope the more dramatic actions will galvanize others to protest. Most people can't afford to take the time to protest because they can't afford to even fill their tank up with gas, because most people don't have 2 nickels to rub together anymore. But nevertheless, thanks for the great economy, Mr. President, and the low gas prices and the worthless American dollar. Do I dare take a look and see, give the American dollar a holler now? See how it's doing? Especially against the loonie, man. Oh, my God. I mean, not the loonie, I mean the euro.
Yeah.
110 votes on the new poll. Just for your edification. Oil is down to $100.95 a barrel. Isn't that a bargain?
Sure.
Down from 111 at its peak. The Dow is up 90 points. The S&P is up 8.5. There you go. S&P is up, Neil. It's up. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Wow. And gold is down to $920 an ounce. Didn't I tell you precious metals? Isn't that what I said?
Mm-hmm.
Take all your money, George. Precious metals.
Already
Take
did.
both those dimes and a quarter.
Already did.
And what's the story with dimes? What do they used to make them out of? They used to make them out of real silver, and now they make them out of, like, tinfoil.
With copper in the middle.
There's a copper in the middle?
Dimes,
I wish
yeah.
they'd put the currency exchange up there so I don't have to sit here twiddling my thumbs. Oh, my God. It is so... No, there ought to be a law against this. Here we go. Oh, the loonie is way down, 97.18. That's good. And the euro is down a little bit, 154.17. And the pound under $2, 198. Those are still grotesque, but a little bit of improvement there. Hallelujah. What did I say on the loonie? 97 and something? All right.
All right.
You understand what that means?
No.
That's good news. Now, if we go back down to like 67 or 62, what it was when I came here 6-7 years ago, then I would have like a little something.
Something.
When the American dollar is really worth something, which it was back then. That means I've lost 50% of my spending power in the time that I've been here. 50%. Didn't that scare you?
No.
In other words, if I go to Woodbine now and lose $400, that would be like $200 7 years ago. But now it's like $400. Here comes the bunny, and there goes your money. Euthanasia debate woman found dead in Paris. Oh, those frogs, baby. Let me say it again. All you French Canadians, we just took a poll. Everybody, it was unanimous. Everybody else wants you to go back to Quebec, eh? Get lost. Parlez-vous, go away. Chimpanzee. A French woman severely disfigured by facial tumors has been found dead just 2 days after a court rejected her request for an assisted suicide. Medical examiners were looking today into the death of 52-year-old Chantal Sabir, whose case had prompted not only Roman Catholic France to re-examine its stance on euthanasia to determine whether anything illegal had taken place. It wasn't immediately clear how she died. Sabir had suffered from a rare and incurable form of cancer for 8 years. I couldn't possibly... Esthesia neuroblastoma. Boy, I'm proud that I did that.
Wow.
I'm sure it's not right, but... Developing tumors in her nasal passages and sinuses that distorted her face and caused her nose and eyes to bulge. Yeah, like that. The woman from Dijon in eastern France said drugs were ineffective against the excruciating pain caused by the condition, and there was no reason doctors shouldn't be permitted to hasten her death. Assisted suicide is illegal in France, however. The law permits only passive euthanasia, removing feeding and hydration tubes, like when we had Terry McCall. What was her name? Terry
Schiavo.
Cube. What was it?
Schiavo.
See how out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Schiavo and her feeding
Cube.
And they were all rushing back, the president and Congress rushing back, cut the weekend short so they could vote and grandstand. The law permits only passive euthanasia in France, removing feeding and hydration tubes when a person is in a coma, or introducing coma and then removing the tubes. Sabir's lawyer had tried to convince a French court that it was barbaric to put her through the ordeal of dying slowly in an artificial coma, something that could take up to 2 weeks, while her 3 children looked on in anguish. The court turned the appeal down on Monday. At the same time, she wrote a letter to French President Sarkozy appealing for help. He responded by suggesting top doctors should re-examine her for a second opinion. Let's get a second opinion. Oh, my God, that other nose that's growing out of the side of her face. Let's see if it's really another nose or it's just... Her plight and the questions it raised caused so much public debate in France that when she was found dead last night, it made front-page news in heavyweight papers including Le Figaro and Le Parisien. CNN senior international correspondent Jim Bitterman in Paris said she had many supporters in France, with hundreds of people writing to her to express their backing. One of the reasons for this woman was a relatively young mother of 3, and many people could sympathize. People think, what would I do in the same circumstances? A French group called the Association for the Right to Die with Dignity, which took up her cause, believes laws must be changed to take such cases into account. I think we ought to let all the French people commit suicide.
Sounds good. We should help them.
Starting with the frogs.
Although, who'll make the wine and the cheese then?
Now, here's the guy that sent us the pool that we have up there. I meant to add, the U.S. will start using the metric system.
All right.
Well, thanks for the pool, and we could put that on there, although that's not going to happen because the U.S. the whole world is out of step. The U.S. is right and the whole rest of the world's out of step. You do understand that?
Well, I know that. When are you going to figure it out?
Yeah. It's the only country in the world that's on now, what do we call our system?
English Standard.
We do?
I think. Or Standard.
Well, why do we call it that? Because the English don't use it.
They used to.
They don't.
I know.
They use the metric system like the whole rest of the world.
Standard
like
now.
Canada and Mexico and Latin America and Africa and Asia and China, where they have all those hot people and some pretty cold ones. 121 votes on the new poll. Are we going to add that on there or not? I mean, it's up to you. I don't care. It's added?
See.
Boy, Chris, he didn't even wait for me to give it my squeal of approval.
Well, you sound like you're up for it, so.
U.S. will start using the metric system. Hold your breath. Which of these things is most likely to happen in your lifetime? Thanks for the poll. It's not that great, and we've done it before, but it's got different things on it. That's the good part, right?
Right.
Got to try new things. That's what I keep telling people, and they run like a son of a bitch. John Nichols has a column on The Nation, in the Nation, on the Nation, under the Nation, Obama, Clinton, and the other speech. He says the news on Wednesday focused on a speech Barack Obama had made the day before regarding the complex intersection of race, religion, and politics. Obama's historic speech deserved all the attention that it got, but Wednesday was, as well, the anniversary of the launch of George Bush's war in Iraq. And we would all be remiss if we failed to note that Obama's opponent for the Democratic presidential nomination, New York Senator Hillary Clinton, has called our attention to a speech Obama made in regard to the question of whether Bush should have been allowed to begin the seemingly endless war. Clinton said that Obama's campaign is based on one speech he gave at an anti-war rally in 2002. In fairness to the senator from Illinois, his candidacy is based on a bit more than a speech in 2002, but the speech ought not be dismissed by those considering the choice between Obama and Clinton. Indeed, the fact that Obama opposed authorizing Bush to go to war when Clinton did not illustrates an essential difference between the two remaining contenders for the Democratic presidential nomination. 5 years into an unnecessary war that's dislocated millions of Iraqis, that's killed hundreds of thousands of innocents, that's sent coffins back to towns across the U.S., that's emptied our federal treasury at a time when the money is more needed than ever at home, that's taken the eyes of the President and the Congress off critical economic policy concerns, and that hasn't made any sense made America a safer, better country. The Iraq War is the primary foreign policy disaster of our time, but it is as well the primary domestic policy disaster of our time, too. And every serious observer let's repeat that, every serious observer knew that invading Iraq would create precisely the quagmire it's come to be. The majority of Democrats and half a dozen Republicans in the House knew, almost half the Democrats and Republican independent in the Senate knew, but Hillary Clinton did not. That's more than just troubling. While it may be too much to say that voting to authorize George Bush to take the country to war in Iraq was, in and of itself, disqualifying, many reasonable people have come to that conclusion. And in a race between two qualified candidates who are so very similar on so many issues, the fact that one of them got Iraq right and the other got it wrong provides the race with necessary measure of definition. 5 years into this war, the truest thing that can be said about the conflict is this: it should never have begun. Hillary Clinton understands this now when it's too late. Barack Obama understood in 2002 when there was still time.
U.S. Customary Unit.
This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
The 1 to 2 hour.
Just sit right back and you'll hear it tell the tale of an a-hole cop who pulled over Mary Ann on a traffic stop. He collared Dawn and didn't care if she's Mary Ann or not. This two-bag small-town moron busted her for pot. He busted her for pot. It seems that only Idahos live in Idaho like their senator.
I'm Larry Craig, and marijuana is a gateway drug. That is to say, a great way drug.
Gay.
Dawn Wells is not gay, but she was a very naughty girl. A very naughty girl. Most fellas say she helped them get through puberty. Not me. I had the hots for the professor myself. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must assume my penalistic stance. Hello there. Aha.
Look at that. Stingray leaps from the water and strikes a woman sunbathing on a boat in Marathon and killed her.
Her boat, she was
They're
pronounced
taking
dead
revenge.
at a local...
I beg your pardon?
First Steve Irwin and now this.
Revenge of the Stingrays, huh?
We'll be talking shortly here with the Coast Guard,
Good.
and we'll bring that to you as soon as we can.
55-year-old woman. She died from the Stingray's sting. She got stung. She's dead. In Marathon, no less. How do you like that? Congress and the Federal Reserve missed their chance to keep the country from falling into recession by acting too slowly, according to a well-respected economist who I never heard of and whose name I can't possibly pronounce. Lakshman Akutan?
Okay.
Okay, what?
I'll take it.
A-C-H-U-T-A-N. Achtung. I don't know what his name is. The managing director of the Economic Cycle Research Institute said the economy is now fallen into what he calls a recession of choice. He argues that the economic stimulus package, he said Echmer stimulus package, passed by Congress this year is too late to help many consumers and businesses, and that the Federal Reserve was too timid when it started trimming interest rates last fall. Since then, the Fed has aggressively cut rates, most recently lowering them by 0.75 of a percentage point at its meeting on Tuesday. If they had done this at the fourth quarter, I think we'd be having a different discussion, he said. We'd not have had Bear, referring to the fire sale purchase of brokerage firm Bear Stearns by J.P. Morgan Chase that the Fed helped arrange over the weekend to avoid a collapse of Bear Stearns. The ECRI, which forecasts a number of key economic readings such as employment, inflation, and production from various business sectors, have been reluctant to join the rising tide of economists, arguing the economy has fallen into a recession, but changed its call on Thursday today. Akutan, Achtung, said the tipping point for his firm's recession call was when its leading index for non-financial services, a sector of the economy that accounts for 62% of jobs, turned negative. Although he said he saw weaknesses in the U.S. economy last fall, he didn't make a recession forecast at that time because he thought it was possible the government could have done something then to prevent a recession. He said low business inventories at the end of last year gave policymakers a chance to avoid the recession because any spurt of spending by business or consumers would have resulted in a quick pickup in production. This was an opportunity that was wasted by policymakers because they didn't understand those dynamics, he said. That's one aspect of how the policymakers have goofed, and this is why recession is a choice, not something that happened by bad luck and chance. But Ben Bernanke worked over the weekend, though. Good job there, Benny. Heck of a job, Benny. Don't you think?
Indeed I do.
He worked over the weekend. He poured over the books, and he rolled up his sleeves and dusted off the old studies, and he said, we can do, and he did a lot of do.
Did.
And that's what most people are in, like that commissioner in Dade County said yesterday. Was it Javier Soto? We're in deep doo-doo? Is that what he said?
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
Whatever happened to, what's his name, Xavier Suarez? He's
I don't know.
Running around in his bathrobe?
I think I saw him just this morning.
Knocking on the doors at 4 or 5 in the morning. Hey, vote for me, vote for me. Not that we have crazy politicians in South Florida. You do understand that.
I understand.
And thank God for that Metro fail that they have to buy replace those cars for the 10 people that ride it every day so they can go to Shorty's and get some good ribs. I'll tell you one thing. The day that Shorty's ever closed down, that would be it. Am I right?
Indeed. Although, I'm not going to miss it.
Well, I'm not going to either, but I'm just saying that. That's the last landmark. All the other landmarks are gone. Corky's is gone. The Famous will be gone next month. Wolfies are all gone. Pumpernicks are all gone. And once they're gone...
They're gone?
They're gone forever, baby. They're gone. Oh, and today is Thursday, but we didn't have any restaurant deal. Probably some people are wondering about that. Well...
Don't do the spots. They're out of business.
And you'll be pleased to know I went down during the 1 o'clock break. I went down the hall. And I punched the elevator button, and the elevators are working now, yeah. Oh! All right. Isn't that good? Because you would, then that would have been bad. You'd have been wondering all weekend until Monday.
Right.
Whether I was dead or alive, whether I'd show up on Monday. And, of course, that would be bad because you're not going to be working on Monday. Now, who's going to be working Monday? Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And?
Chris.
What do you mean by that?
We have another guy named Chris?
No, it'll be me.
Just you?
Most likely.
We got no Josh Cordes on Monday?
Well, no, he'll be off Monday.
That's the way it goes. That's the way it works. I think George ought to start paying for his drunken orgies.
I do. I pay for my own drunken orgies.
No, for Cordes.
For Cordes?
You're always sticking up for him so much. What a great guy he is.
Well, if he starts sharing, maybe I will too.
Well, he's not sharing.
I know.
You probably know somebody named Sharon.
Yeah. And if she's
all you
barren,
want, man. All you want is some good weed and some good sex. That's all you want.
Yeah.
Won't take much to keep George happy. So when he goes to Gulfstream next Friday,
all
you hot chicks. And then, of course, the guy with the eyes, he's probably pretty desperate, too. He might put it up for you.
Yeah.
He might show you a really fat rectum since you're so much into ass. He's all ass, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, wrong kind. A little hairy for me.
Oh! 148 votes on the poll. Which of these things is likely to happen in your lifetime? The world will run out of oil, 33. Oh, there's the stingray. It's dead. Look at that. Those are nasty-looking things, by the way.
Yeah.
Now, what's the difference between a stingray and an eel? Isn't a stingray a kind of eel?
No. Well, I don't know the technicality of it, but a stingray is
broad
and flat.
Why not? Why did you say no right away?
No, a stingray is broad and flat, and an eel is long and thin.
It's long and thin?
Like a snake. But they're both fish. Stingrays are related to sharks.
I'm Googling it.
All right, cool.
All about stingrays. Some adult stingrays are no larger than a human palm. How do you like that? This one's big, though. You see that one on screen in there? Oh, and I can't read the family that it's from. It's even worse than that guy's name, that economist.
And collided with either the vessel or the victim herself, causing her to die. We have our investigators that are on the scene right now trying to make that determination to see if it was her death occurred as a direct result of the collision with the or whether it was she panicked while she was in the boat and she fell backwards when the ray actually ended up in the boat. So we're looking at into those few incidents to try to determine exactly what occurred.
So we've heard from Monroe County Sheriff's Office that this woman had severe injuries to her face. Is that can you confirm that?
I cannot confirm that. I would imagine that if she collided with a ray, then yes, she would definitely have those kind of injuries. I'm on my way down to the scene to try to get more detail as to what occurred.
Well, that screwed up I went to Wikipedia and it screwed up my computer, man. Don't you hate that when you go to something and like everything freezes up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Yeah, restore the session, okay? Just get back on Firefox there and let's get going. I was just about to read the poll and you said, why don't you Google Stingray so we know what it's all about? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I did.
I'm sure you did. Okay, let me get off
trying
of
to
that.
Sabotage you.
Wikipedia. 154 votes. Which of these things most likely to happen in your lifetime? World will run out of oil, 36. Manned space flight to Mars, 32. Legalization of marijuana in the U.S., 30. Oh, yeah, not in my lifetime. Cure for AIDS, 24. Second coming of Jesus, 14. Oh, I want to see that. Can I lend you a hand, Jesus? Maybe we can buy you some new Birkenstocks, baby. You look like a schlepper. The U.S. will start using the metric system, 8. Cure for cancer, 8. And peace in the Middle East, 2. 2 very silly people out of 156. I think you got a real shot at 1,200. What do we have? 900? 1,100.
Yeah.
Chris.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't care.
I care so much. It is
so
important.
Fat, man. So typically fat and lethargic and just, No pizzazz, no energy, man. That's the way it is when you're fat. I can relate.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. You know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're fat, you can barely even move. You can barely roll out of the sack in the morning. Am I wrong? No.
No.
Jim Loeb from the Inner Press Service on commondreams.org. Did I make that clear? Loeb? Remember Jim Loeb from the Green Door? Don't play it.
Yeah, all right.
Why did the U.S. invade Iraq? Loeb, L-O-B-E. The official reasons, the threat posed to the U.S. by its allies and Saddam Hussein's... I'm not going to have time to do this before the break, so I'm going to do the break now. Because I don't want to have, bedtime storious interruptus.
Yeah, biggest names.
The best talent.
This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
Floridians, dumb as dirt.
Once there was a senator who was caught indulging a habit, a boogeroo, not much different like a typical neocon faggot.
You fairy.
Hands up to Larry, we all thank you for giving writers something funny to do. You're looking for guys who make you go, aye, aye, Larry Craig, thank you for tapping your shoe. News stories last a few days, but you refuse to go away. Republicans are primarily gay.
Absolutely.
Hands off to Larry with cheeks up high. We all invite you to inhale our fun. The neocon right likes to insert and go, aye, aye, oh. Larry taking no crap when he's tapping his shoe.
Cracked him.
Gay, 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 I never have been gay. Gay, 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 I never have been gay.
Hands off to Larry, he wants to stay, but his own party wants him to go away. The religious right wants him to say, Larry Craig will spread his legs for you.
Oh, speaking of that, what do you think of that? She's out on there right now. The blonde chick on CNN that is doing the news now. I think she's new.
Okay. The one that was on the left?
Again.
The one that was on the left, I caught her.
That's right. What did you think of her?
I think she looked mighty fine.
I give her about a 9.8.
I'll take her.
Okay. See, I told you. My taste is great in the Sunshine State. Jim Loeb, why did the U.S. invade Iraq? The official reasons, the threat posed to the U.S. and its allies by Saddam Hussein's alleged programs of weapons of mass destruction and the possibility that he would pass along these arms to al-Qaeda, have long since been discarded by the overwhelming weight of evidence, or more precisely, the lack of evidence that such a threat ever existed. Liberating Iraq from the tyranny of Hussein's especially unforgiving and bloodthirsty version of Baathism, and thus setting an irresistible precedent that would spread throughout the Arab world, a theme pushed by the administration of President George W. Bush, mostly after the invasion as it became clear the official reasons couldn't be justified, appears to have been the guiding obsession of really only one member of the Bush team, and not an especially influential one at that, Deputy Defense Secretary Paul Wolfowitz. Then there's the theory that Bush, whose enigmatic psychology, especially his relationship to his father, has already provided grist for several book publishing mills, wanted to show up his dad for failing to take Baghdad in 91. Or he sought to finish the job that his dad began in 91, and or to avenge his dad for Hussein's alleged but highly questionable assassination attempt against Bush 1 in Kuwait after the war. Because Bush was the ultimate decider, as he himself has put it, and because no one who has ever served at top levels in the administration has ever been able to say precisely when, let alone why, the decision was made to invade Iraq, this explanation cannot be entirely dismissed as an answer. Then there's the question of oil. Was the administration acting on behalf of an oil industry desperate to get its hands on Mesopotamian oil that had long been denied as a result of UN and unilateral sanctions prohibiting business between U.S. companies and Saddam Hussein? Given both Bush's and Vice President Cheney's long-standing ties to the industry and former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan's assertion in his recent memoir that the Iraq War is largely about oil, this theory has definite appeal, especially to those on the left who made no blood for oil a favorite mantra at anti-war protests in the run-up to the invasion, just as they did with much greater plausibility before the 91 Gulf War. The problem, however, is that there's little or no evidence that big oil, an extremely cautious beast in the global corporate menagerie, favored a war, especially one carried out in a way unilaterally that risked destabilizing the world's most oil-rich region, especially Saudi Arabia and the Emirates. On the contrary, the Rice University Institute that bears the name of former Secretary of State James Baker, a man who's both represented and embodied big oil throughout his long legal career, publicly warned early on that if Bush absolutely positively had to invade Iraq for whatever reason, he shouldn't even consider it unless two conditions were met. One, that the action was authorized by the UN Security Council, and two, that nothing would ever be done after the invasion to suggest that the motivation had to do with the acquisition by U.S. oil companies of Iraq's oil resources. That's not to say that oil was irrelevant to the administration calculations, but perhaps in a different sense than that meant by the No Blood for Oil slogan. After all, oil is an absolutely indispensable requirement for running modern economics and militaries. After the invasion was a forceful, indeed a shock and awesome demonstration to the rest of the world, especially potential strategic rivals like China, Russia, or even the European Union, of Washington's ability to quickly and effectively conquer and control an oil-rich nation in the heart of the energy-rich Middle East Gulf region anytime it wants, perhaps persuading these lesser powers that challenging the West could prove counterproductive to long-term interest, if not the supply of energy in the short term. Indeed, a demonstration of such power could well be the fastest way to formalize a new international order based on the overwhelming military power of the U.S., unequaled at least since the Roman Empire. It would be a unipolar war of the kind envisaged by the 92 Draft Defense Planning Guide, DPG, commissioned by then-Pentagon Chief Dick Cheney, overseen by Wolfowitz and Cheney's future Chief of Staff, I. Louis Scooter Libby, and contributed to by future Ambassador to be liberated Afghanistan and Iraq, Zalmay Khalilzad, and Bush's Deputy National Security Advisor, J.D. Crouch. It was that same vision that formed the inspiration for the 27 charter signatories, a coalition of aggressive nationalists, neocons, and Christian right leaders that included Cheney, Rumsfeld, Wolfowitz, Libby, Khalilzad, and several other future senior Bush administration national security officials of the Project for the New American Century in 1997. It was the same project that began calling for regime change in Iraq in 1998, and that 9 days after the 9/11 attack on New York and the Pentagon publicly warned that any war on terror that excluded Hussein's elimination would necessarily be incomplete. In retrospect, it seems clear that Iraq had long been seen by this group, which became empowered first by Bush's election and then supercharged by 9/11, as the first, easiest, and most available step toward achieving a Pax Americana that would not only establish the U.S. once and for all as the dominant power in the region, but whose geostrategic implications for aspiring peer competitors would be global in scope. For the neocon and Christian right members of this group, who were its most eager and ubiquitous war boosters, Israel would also be a major beneficiary of an invasion. According to a 1996 paper drafted by prominent hardline neocons, including some like Douglas Feith and David Mumser, who would later serve in senior posts in Cheney's office and the Pentagon in the run-up to the invasion, ousting Hussein and installing a pro-Western leader was the key to destabilizing Israel's Arab enemies and/or bending them to its will. This would permit Israel not only to escape the Oslo peace process, but also to secure as much of the occupied Palestinian and Syrian territories as it wanted. Indeed, getting rid of Hussein and occupying Iraq would not only tighten Israel's hold on Arab territories. In this view, it could also threaten the survival of the Arab and Islamic world's most formidable weapon against Israel, OPEC, by flooding the world market with Iraqi oil and forcing the commodity's price down to historic lows. That's how it looked 5 years ago, anyway. Well, that last part sure worked out really well, didn't it?
Yeah, look at that.
Historic lows. Thank you, Mr. President, and all you neocons, all you Nazis, for those low gas prices, for raping the world. And you know what Mo would say, don't you?
Gang rape is funny?
That's what he would say. Well, I mean, I could find it in here.
I doubt it.
Oh, I'll find it.
Gang rape is funny.
See? When it comes to the Mo Man, it's always...
It's time to get it on.
Right. Let's bring him back. What do you say? Now, this would be a good poll. Oh, do I dare? You know what I'm thinking, don't you? Between like 2 and 4?
Oh, yeah, that would be a good poll.
Who did you enjoy most between 2 and 4 in the last couple of years on the station? Goldie, he was on there for a while. Right? Then there was Mo. And then we got Jerks with his heat stats and the bongos. He bothers me. You know, I know you say he's a very nice guy, and I've never met him, and I'm sure I never will.
Off the air. I mean, I don't know. I've heard conflicting reports about that, too, so who knows?
Really? About what? Him being a nice guy?
Right.
As in...
As in, he's not. As in, he's a jerk with a giant ego and takes himself way too seriously. Things like that. No. But I wouldn't know these things for a fact. I'm just repeating what other people say. It's hearsay, as Judge Judy would say. He's only ever been nice to me.
Well, good. You know. 181 votes on Chris's poll, so that's like 1081. You got 1,100 licked, man. It is a banner day for us. In fact, so good, I'm not coming in tomorrow. Uh-oh. We only have a 2-hour show tomorrow, 10 to noon, because George is working, and then because it's Good Friday. And I'm being very religious. I'm going to get a car early in the morning. I'm going to go to the Church of Woodbine. I'm going to cross myself and hope to find a good machine man. You know, we'll never get the true answer. No matter how many times you try to research it online or in books or anybody, and the people you talk to, you'll never get the honest answer of if and how slot machines are manipulated and regulated in casinos nowadays.
Well, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. What you were supposed to be getting for your birthday that I ordered from Amazon Canada.
Yeah.
And it was and at the time it was already in print, but then you know how they psych you out sometimes. Oh, we're really not ready for
How
printing
to find
yet.
a good machine man? Is that what it's called?
It was the definitive textbook guide all about slot machines, how they work from the first ones to the modern ones.
Really?
Everything, how they work, how they generate the percentages, what can be done, what can't be done, from the people who make them, build them, use them, own them, operate them. It's a textbook.
Now, are you telling me that so I could cry now?
Yeah, that's
because obviously I want it badly. I would kiss your ass from a long distance from here.
I was really proud of
that
finding it,
up.
except the problem is, it's a second edition. It was just out, but guess what? Not. So.
Guess what? Not what? What does that mean?
It's not out yet. In other words, I keep getting emails from Amazon Canada saying that book's going to be out any minute now.
No, because they probably found whoever wrote it and they probably killed him.
Probably.
It's one of those things, if I tell you I'm going to have to kill you, and they probably did.
Right, it's the new revised second edition, updated for the modern
anybody
machine.
else who's ever played, and you know how it works, there's an old guy sitting next to me yesterday, and I was only there 15 minutes tops.
Mm-hmm. Pops.
And he's sitting next to me, and he sat down, and he got 640 on the line, on the double diamond machine, which I hate those. I only play the 5 times machines, Mom. But anyway, he got 640. Double diamond, 7 other double diamond. He had no idea what he got. He's a clueless old guy. What is that? Yeah, it's a 640. What? $640. Oh, how nice. And 5 minutes later, I get this spin for 1,000. And you see that. All of a sudden, they'll all get hot, and the people are getting 400 and 500 and 1,000 and 3,000 on the line. And then there'll be days when it goes for hours and hours, and you're feeding and feeding and feeding, and people are... I've noticed lately there's been about 4 of them. 4 machines where people have gotten so frustrated they just smash the glass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then they take tape and they put it over so nobody gets cut and sues their ass. And then they took the guy away in handcuffs. I'm going to try that tomorrow morning.
The best talent.
This is Neil Rogers.
Smash the glass, baby.
560 QAM.
Use your ass, smash the glass. .32 at 560 WQM. Now, even our regulars, our chronics like Russell and Coco, who's a good guy, a regular faxer, good listener, long time, he doesn't get it. This fax you just sent me?
Yeah, well, that's why I knew you'd like it.
It says, Hola, Jorge. Programming note for Neil. Stern interviewed Ryan Phillippe on his show this morning. Hour-long, funny, candid, names. Now, what does that mean, names? Names of what?
Like who he did what with. I'm sure is what that refers to.
Yeah. The show is repeated on Sirius throughout the day, and blah, blah, blah. Outstanding. The old man and his friend might want to check it out. I just, first of all, I don't have Sirius. See?
Serious?
I'm serious. I'm seriously, like my friend says. I'm seriously. That's what he says while he's making his Apple use.
That's cute.
Listen to me, okay? It's just, try
adorable.
He does pretty damn good, okay?
I ain't saying nothing.
English,
I ain't saying
considering.
nothing. I ain't saying
what?
Nothing. I ain't saying nothing.
Well, good. And as far as Ryan Phillippe is concerned, he's somebody that I enjoy watching on the movies and on TV because he looks really, really great, and he's in a lot of really great movies like Crash and a few others.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I don't care. I don't care about Howard Stern. I know that that's un-American and un-radio-ish and to a lot of people out there. I'm just not interested. Are you?
Nope.
When we had him on the station, when we followed him, the only thing that I cared about was were we ever going to get the show started and what time we're going to start on that given day, and that's all I cared about. And the fact that we had a great lead-in with numbers and so on and so forth, and we had bigger numbers than he did, if you'll recall. But, of course, part of that is because they sliced up his show like Swiss cheese with all the bleeps and the dumps and all the other stupid crap they did. That you know something? That experiment was the epitome of this company. They wanted to put it on. They wanted to be outrageous. They wanted the big numbers. They wanted all the revenue from it. But at the same time, oh, gee, but we don't want to get fined again by the FCC. We don't want to lose that license, which we don't. I still don't think we got it. Do we have it?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think we're like pirate radio. I think we ought to promote ourselves as that. Pirate radio, QAM.
That'd be better.
We ain't got no license. Every day. Anything else, Robin? Anything else, Robin? And on and on. It was like an endurance contest. How long could they forestall the inevitable, okay? I mean, we do the opposite. You know, like it's 10 minutes to 10, and George will say to me, is it 2 yet? You know, we always joke about that, because, we're anxious to get out of here like anybody else. It's not like how long can we stay on the air to feed our ego or something like that. The only thing we're interested about is feeding our face, which that didn't happen today. I want to apologize to both of you profusely, but it's one of those things.
By the way, we don't have one of those things.
What?
We don't have one of those things.
What? Things
you're talking about, you know, the radio station should have, but we don't.
One of what things?
License.
We don't?
No.
Did you get that officially now?
Shh. I just
Who told you that?
I just
Somebody
made it up.
tell you that?
Nobody opened the door and told me that just now. Absolutely no one.
Did somebody text you?
No.
Email
Nobody
you?
told me. I pulled it out of my
Somebody put a message
arse.
in a bottle?
I pulled it out of my arse.
Did you get a message from Garcia?
From God.
Oh, from God. Well, in that case,
God!
We don't got it. But the Stern thing was like, they wanted it, and of course they had it on at Fort Myers too, and then he canned them because they were, well, we don't want to go into that. They get psychotic about that. But it's true. He canned it because he wasn't getting paid from over there for the fees for having a show on the air. And he said, well, guess what? We're pulling the show off whatever that station is in Fort Myers. Remember that?
Yep.
And that was right at the time when they were. He was all hot to trot for me to be on Sirius. That sure that screwed that all up. Not, of course, that Norma could have ever closed that deal anyway. I'm not sure Norma could close a door, you know? Now, who is it I was reading about yesterday whose agent was Don Buchwald? Who was that?
What about him?
Don't you remember yesterday I had the story that somebody...
I don't understand the question.
Who was it that I was reading about who was... And it said, so-and-so's agent is Don Buchwald.
Oh, some mediocre hack, if I recall. I forget.
Well, there you go. 203 votes on the poll. That gives us over 1,100 for the day. And they keep hawking about this lady killed by the stingray while sunbathing in a boat in Marathon. I mean, it's a sad story, and they keep showing the damn stingray. Gross. I'm sure when it's swimming in the water, it probably looks better. It looks beautiful, you know. Flapping its wings, whatever you would call. What would you call those?
Fins.
It's fins?
Yep.
Those are fins?
Those are fins.
They look like the fins. I bet you that's like Zach Thomas. Sure ain't Jason Taylor. He's too busy dancing these days. Boy, his whole thing, man, I'm sorry. I better not say anything because it's the Dolphin station. And these people get very upset. Oh, no, don't be knocking Jason Taylor. He's great. Blah, blah. With his calendar and his dancing and his, a lot of it seems awfully gay to me. Not that I'm suggesting that, of course. That would be a bad thing to suggest. I'm not suggesting that at all. But it just seems a little gay. Doesn't it seem a little odd to you?
Yeah, a tad bit.
Yesterday marked the 5-year anniversary, as you know, of the U.S. invasion of Iraq, ordered by President George W. Bush. A CBS affiliate in Miami reports on one mother, Christy Domenico, whose only child is stationed in Iraq. Her 26-year-old son, Brian, has been in Iraq for nearly a year. Only 3 weeks into his stay, his platoon was ambushed. That was their first taste of reality, reflected Domenico. Sadly, said reporter Liv Davalos, it's a reality that families all over the country have experienced this in the last 5 years of this war. So far, nearly 4,000 Americans have died. Nearly 60,000 have been injured. Many have come home missing limbs. Domenico, who helps collect letters and care packages to be sent to area troops in Iraq, says her son told her on the phone, Mom, my goal is to come back with my legs. How do you like that?
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, they only talk about the statistics of the, nearly 4,000, 3992, something like that, nearly 4,000 dead. But very seldom do they talk about the grotesqueries of all the missing limbs and just
permanent
destroyed
nerve
lives.
damage,
Okay?
right,
That's what we're
blind,
talking
deaf.
about, butchered lives, because we have a butcher that's running the country, and the media's busy sucking his ass, okay, which is the way it's been all during these 7 years that he's been in there. The man is a lunatic, irresponsible. Cheney's even crazier than he is, with that arrogant, obnoxious attitude, with that interview yesterday. Well, so the country's against it, so? He couldn't give a damn less about anything other than himself and his fat cat oil buddies. That's all he cares about is Halliburton and filling his fat ass pockets, and his bull-dyke daughter, and his obnoxious, smarmy novel-writing wife. Dick, what's his name? He still calls him Cheney. On MSNBC, Chris Matthews. Dick Cheney. Why does he say that?
I don't know. He's an idiot.
He's a moron, Chris Matthews, with his politics. It's our politics fix. And the public sits back and they watch it like, hey, here's a guy that belongs on TV. He's really great, you know. He knows a lot about politics. Don't get excited now. Just stay calm. You got the day off tomorrow. You can go in the morning, win a lot of money, play that Wheel of Fortune. I want that damn book now.
I sent you a little, I cut and pasted the message that they keep sending me, every month.
Well, I don't want that. What's that going to teach me about
the name of the book?
The
name of the book. Maybe you can find it in a bookstore up there, since I got it from Amazon Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm vexed. I'm daunted. I don't know how else to find it.
I think the book is called The Name of the Game is Losing Your Ass.
The biggest names.
The best talent.
This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
I know that the Lord even loves Neil Rogers.
Absolutely.
Right. 145. I remember freedom. I remember freedom of speech. I remember when we could say things and do things and play things and be things. Stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
BB, before Bush. So George sends me this email from Amazon.ca.
Yeah.
That says, we're still trying to obtain the following items you ordered on October 29th, 2007.
Yeah.
John Grachowski is the author. And the book, it's in paperback, The Slot Machine Answer Book, 2nd edition.
Right.
How they work, how they've changed, how to overcome the book advantage.
The picture is it's a big book, It's not one of these. It's like a big book, even though it's paperback. It's not one of these little things. It's like a manual.
I told you I'm not a science queen, okay? I don't care how big it is.
All right.
The only thing I would like is, I'm sure it doesn't really tell you anything, but it'd be fun to read it, But you never know. How to overcome the house advantage? How could you possibly do that?
Well, because the people that build them and make them, they might know a thing about them. And the people that work at the house, for the house.
Well, how do you know this book isn't out yet?
I don't. This is just what I keep getting from them, and I can't find it otherwheres. Maybe you can have better luck. I don't know.
John Grachowski?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna pull that up, put it in my pocket right now, and go to one of our gigantic, they have the world's largest bookstore here downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Which is 2 or 3 stories. And there's all kinds of stories out on the street. Hey, don't forget to fill out your brackets for the big tournament. Log on to WQM.com, register to play Hoops Hysteria. We got that big Hurricane St. Mary's School for the Poor tomorrow at noon. Picks can be made round by round and bonus points given for picking up sets. Hoops Hysteria online at WQM.com. We at least have that for you on the QM.com. We don't have the Neil deal today because there isn't any. Because of certain situations there that we got a sales.
Factors beyond our control.
What? Well, let me ask you this question.
Uh-huh.
Did Andy, this person, the sales hole, did he ever come in there and discuss this with you or give you, I'm sorry about this?
That's funny. I'm pretty sure he's scared to even come anywhere near this studio.
Why, because he's an idiot?
Okay.
Because
I don't know. There's no reason for him to be.
Our whole deal. You know, the audience is used to having a good deal there every Thursday. And most weeks they go like hotcakes, man, like flapjacks in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Oh, there's Oliver.
Of gold. Bring me your old gold and I'll give you cash. Because I'm the cash man. I'll give you money for your gold, oh yeah.
I just like that spot. I don't know why. He's funny. Funny guy. Now, most guys that do their own spots, it's pretty embarrassing. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Mark Caputo in the Herald writes, now you notice I'm even giving the bylines of who writes. I mean, it's just silly. Who cares who wrote it? It's in the Herald. Chief Justice calls budget cuts murder. Murder! In unusually alarming terms, the Chief Justice of the Florida Supreme Court told legislators today that a nearly 10% budget cut to the state court system would be tantamount to anything from murder to suicide to a spear to the heart. Justice Fred Lewis, Judge Festus Lewis, said the $42.1 million in cuts contemplated for next budget year would lead to the firing of 900 court employees statewide, inevitably leaving the court system comatose or in a state of effective death. Lewis acknowledged that the reduction was insignificant when compared to the $2 to $3 billion in total budget cuts, but said it would lead to the virtual shuttering of the judicial branch, which has 4,200 plus employees and a total budget of $445 million. When you ask a branch to commit suicide, it cannot. It may be murdered by others, and we may not find justice, he told the Senate Criminal Justice Appropriations Committee. But the judgment must rest on the plates of those public servants who have been elected to maintain Florida as the bright shining star that it is, he says. The committee chairman, Senator Victor Christ of Tampa. I wonder if he's kin to your governor. Got a lot of Christuses in there, you know. We got Charlie Crist and Victor Christ. I wonder if he's also like your governor.
Gay.
Said the justice had a legitimate concern, but that the judicial branch could be spared the most because courts and county clerks could raise court fines and fees and do a better job collecting them, especially in Dade County, where millions aren't collected and sent to the state for some years. Lewis said he supported finding those other revenues, but wouldn't say what they were. He said the situation was dire. They're in dire straits. We're not talking about putting off a case for an hour. We're not talking about minor impacts. We're talking about children of Florida. We're talking about the most vulnerable of Florida. We're talking about keeping our citizens safe and sound and secure, Lewis be saying. Noting that the use of court and social services rises with a bad economy, Christ also said that state attorneys, judges, and public defenders need to do a better job managing their time, selecting cases to prosecute, and ensuring that only the truly poor use public defenders. But neither Lewis nor state attorneys nor public defenders in the room said they were aware of widespread mismanagement of court time or cases. The budget cuts, Chris said, will be far worse for other programs that don't have as many revenue-raising opportunities. Those include prisons, the parole commission, guardian ad litem services for kids, juvenile justice programs, and drug prevention programs. In the world of legislative budgeting and Senate traditions, Chris said, he can't ask Senate President Ken Pruitt for more criminal justice budget money because it would come out of another senator's section of the state budget, but he told his members that they could advocate for more. Senator Alex Villalobos of Miami quickly zeroed in on the transportation budget. He said the money should come from the road building and development program that Pruitt said could cost up to $5.4 billion. Democrat Arthenia Joyner of Tampa and Republican Charlie Dean of Inverness agreed with Dean, saying environmental programs protecting things like frogs should take a back seat. Oh, let's get rid of the frogs. The frogs will have to find another pond, he said. How do you like that?
All right.
Money to protect frogs. Oh, my God, if you had any idea. I mean, if you want to know the definition of the word nauseous, wake up one morning and find yourself in Montreal.
All right.
You will be instantly nauseous.
I'll take your word for it.
And if you don't speak French, man, they don't want nothing to do with you. If you don't speak parlez-vous français, they want you to die.
Right. Probably just as well.
This is Quebec. Speak French. Speak French. That just goes to show you how well that bilingualism thing works, man. It sure causes a lot of love and harmony and brotherhood and hate. 223 votes on our poll, on our second poll of the day, and we're pretty proud of that, aren't we, Chris? Yes, we are.
Very.
That's okay. Which of these things is most likely to happen in your lifetime? The world will run out of oil, 50. Manned spaceflight to Mars, 43. Legalization of marijuana in the U.S., 41. They're talking about that criminal justice system. How about letting all the pot people out of jail? That would save a lot of money. How about quitting with all that harassing of people doing a little bit of minor drugs?
Yeah.
Huh? Cure for AIDS, 36. Second coming of Jesus, 20. Oh, I'm waiting right now. I'm going to sit on my balcony until Jesus comes back. Cure for cancer, 17. The U.S. will start using the metric system, 12. You should live so long. And peace in the Middle East, only 6. Out of 227 votes. Yeah, a piece of this, a piece of that. A piece of Gaza, a piece over here. Oh, did you see the Getchkis? Did you see the crazy people at the Wailing Wall the other day?
No, I missed it.
Oh, my God, when McCain was there and Lieberman, and Drew Lieberman was saying, over here, it's wonderful over here. This is where we get the Homentage.
Just in time for poems.
Best talent. This is Neil Rogers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The sports leader.
It's Dave in Miami town at 560 WQAM.
Oh, I just wanna be the Taliban. Put some planes up in the air, bomb Afghanistan. Oh, let me beat, oh, let him beat the Taliban. Really don't like your kind of enough. Think I've had enough. Just wanna find the hideout of Osama bin Laden and blow it up. Oh, I just wanna be the Taliban. While I watch those refugees run to Pakistan. Oh, let me beat, oh, let him beat the Taliban. I just wanna be all those terrorists. Have some fun by killing Muslim fundamentalists. So let me beat, oh, let him beat the Taliban. Don't really like your kind of enough. I tell you I've had enough. I wanna find the hideout of Osama bin Laden and blow it up. Oh, I just wanna be the Taliban. Put some planes up in the air, bomb Afghanistan. Oh, let me beat, oh, let him beat the Taliban. Oh, let me beat, oh, let him beat the Taliban. Oh, let me beat, oh, let him beat the Taliban. I just wanna beat the Taliban.
Bye, bye, bye!
The biggest names, the best talent. And your home for Miami Dolphins football. Sports Radio 560 WQAM. Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Don't cut!
Happy Forum!